Chapter 1557. Real Dragon Appeared 1. Elder Bachan's words could simply anger a person to death. Elderly was so infuriated that his body swayed, but he couldn't do anything to him. He could only toss his sleeves and turn his face around. Elder Bachan raised an eyebrow in satisfaction, his eyes sweeping all around. He had an attitude of, if you are not satisfied, then come and dispute it with him. Seeing Elderly's face turn red from being unable to dispute this, the rest of the elders all kept silent. They set aside the power of authority to Grandmaster Rong Yun. Grandmaster Rong Yun's expression was indifferent as he nodded his head slightly. Since it's like this, then just let heaven decide. Everyone's elemental attribute was decided in the mother's body. It would awaken when the person turns 5. It would be set for a lifetime. But the roaming dragon list gave the winner an additional choice. No one knew how the roaming dragon list came about. They only knew that ever since there was a written history, the roaming dragon list had existed. Moreover, the winner of the roaming dragon list would get an additional attribute from the heavens. Now on the stage, it suddenly surged like a gathering storm. Dark clouds covered the sky, forming a dense mass that enveloped the area. Dragon! Divine Dragon was about to come out. Momentarily, everyone held their breath with rapt attention, unwaveringly staring at that dense mass forming in the sky. In the black clouds that covered the sky in a dense mass, lightning flashed and thunder sounded. Endless rumbling sounds could be heard. Don't know how long passed. All of a sudden, a huge shadow appeared in the sky. Once the real dragon appeared, the air seemed to swell. Emperor Jing was so happy that he was grinning from ear to ear. Because it was an Eastern Ling, the air released by a real dragon would benefit thousands upon thousands of children in Eastern Ling. Now a strong dragon cry could be heard as if coming from ancient times. Seemingly here but not here, it pounded on the deepest place in people's spirit. It made everyone present tremble deeply. The shadowy figure of the real dragon slowly appeared. In the end, it clearly appeared in mid-air. This real dragon was so long as to be endless, no one could see its tail. That huge head appeared awe-inspiring, towering when completely revealed. The scales on the dragon body, each and every one of them was bright and sparkling, reflecting off a clear luster. The real dragon's closed eyes slowly opened, and indifferently swept a glance at the ground, looking at this group of very small ants. The place where his gaze swept past, it became quiet. No one dared to utter a sound. Although this was just a virtual image of the real dragon, however, a lot of people lowered their head. Whether it was intentional or otherwise, people avoided its gaze as it swept by. As much as possible, they reduced the feeling of their existence to the minimum, because they felt a fear and alarm that rushed up from the deepest place in their heart. No one dared to provoke a real dragon's might. On the stage, Nangong Luyan held Su Luo's hand, standing there calmly. His tall and long body was like a beautiful pine tree. Even faced with the real dragon's gaze that swept past, with no one daring to meet a real dragon's gaze, he lifted up his proud head high. When did Grandmaster Rong Yun appear in front of the stage? He looked at the real dragon's gaze, a trace of a different feeling flitting by. Start. Grandmaster Rong Yun's voice was indifferent. Grandmaster Rong Yun actually used such an indifferent tone to talk to the real dragon? Now, everyone looked at Grandmaster Rong Yun in disbelief. No matter what, Grandmaster Rong Yun was still a human, whereas the other side was a real dragon. Okay. How could you be so impolite? Aren't you afraid that the real dragon would get angry and go berserk? Under everyone's stunned gaze, that real dragon appeared to spray out dragon breath arrogantly. He proudly raised his head and rolled his eyes at Grandmaster Rong Yun. Actually didn't get angry? A lot of people's heart was very surprised, and the gaze they used to look at Grandmaster Rong Yun was full of admiration. They were all guessing in their hearts what kind of relationship Grandmaster Rong Yun had with this real dragon. The real dragon's gaze apathetically swept the group of ants below. In the end, his gaze fixed on the two people on stage holding hands. Chapter 1558. Real Dragon Appeared 2. Nangong Luyan stood there indifferently, his expression cold as water. The corner of Su Luo's mouth had a smile, as she looked at the real dragon in mid-air. At this moment, the real dragon's eyes were like searchlights shooting down. Nangong Luoyun and Su Luo was each enveloped by a light beam. Standing there motionless, their shadow stretched very long. The two of them forfeited at the same time. In the end, which of them will be this time's number one for the roaming dragon list? And who will receive that additional elemental attribute? Everyone under the stage nervously stared at the stage. Their eyes didn't blink and were nervous and excited at the same time. The real dragon's two huge eyes each stared at Nangong Luoyun and Su Luo. Very quickly, the light beam on Su Luo's side disappeared. The real dragon was worthy of being a real dragon. Its gaze was like a torch. All at once, he chose His Highness Prince Jin, whose fame came from merit. Everyone under the stage thought like this, but they dared not give off the slightest sound, and exchanged glances with each other. Su Luo sighed slightly in her heart. Sure enough, the real dragon was able to judge easily her and Nangong Luoyun's strength, just based on their aura. In any case, she couldn't compare to Nangong Luoyun. This kind of result was also inevitable. Only, to lose an opportunity that could increase an elemental attribute, this point was really regrettable. The real dragon's gaze calmly looked at Nangong Luoyun. Soon after, one only saw a golden pill shoot out with great speed from his mouth to the space between Nangong Luoyun's eyebrows. The golden light appeared suddenly, in an instant submerging him. Nangong Luoyun's pair of eyes was tightly closed, quietly sensing the power within the golden pill. In the transparent light, Nangong Luoyun's whole body gradually filled with a faint black aura. The black aura became increasingly denser and denser. In the end, it completely enveloped Nangong Luoyun. For a long time, it didn't disperse. Black-colored fog? Elder Li's eyes stared unwaveringly at Nangong Luoyun. The hand at his side clenched tightly. It's been a long time since the dark element has appeared in this world. Elder Baichen admiringly looked at Nangong Luoyun, and directly chuckled with hee-hee sounds. So it turned out to be the long-lost dark element. This boy's luck is really... Elder Luo cried out in surprise. Dark element, It is rumored that the dark element attack power is much stronger than the lightning element. Elder Ouyang, who hadn't spoken till now, had his eyes half narrowed. There was a measure of strangeness in the depths of his eyes. Grandmaster Rong Yun's expression was still as calm as water, but a smiling expression flitted by. Nangong Luoyun did not disappoint him. The heavens were indeed fair. The mystic race was about to appear, and the strongest element that has been lost for so long in this world actually landed in the body of the most gifted youngster. Grandmaster Rong Yun was very much looking forward to Nangong Luoyun's growth. With his protection in the future, Luo Luo's road would be a lot smoother to walk on. Listening to the startled shouts and discussion by his ear, Su Luo realized. So, it turned out Nangong Luoyun got the dark elemental attribute that had been lost for a long time. Su Luo was endlessly happy for him in her heart. But at the same time, she couldn't help but be a little bit disappointed. A pity she didn't have such a good opportunity. However, just at this moment, Nangong Luoyun tightly grabbed Su Luo's hand. In a low voice by her ear's side, "Little divine dragon." Hearing these words, Su Luo's eyes lit up in an instant. However, before Su Luo could summon the little divine dragon, this little guy in Su Luo's space was bouncing vivaciously, being noisy about wanting to come out. This recent period, the little divine dragon kept sinking into deep sleep. Very rarely would he be awake. Don't know if it was because the real dragon's arrival woke him up. Now his alertness was superb. The little divine dragon stood on Su Luo's shoulder. Lifting up his arrogant little head, his huge, clear monochrome eyes stared at the real dragon in midair. Chapter 1559. Real Dragon appeared 3. The real dragon sensed the little divine dragon's aura. In an instant, those apathetic and heartless eyes flashed with a light. "Awo." The little divine angrily spoke while standing on Su Luo's shoulder. He had a deadpan and serious expression, with his little claws pointed at the real dragon. He rumbled on in a language humans couldn't understand. Although the little divine dragon was still young, however, the dragon's prestige he gave off wasn't very small. His dragon roar jolted everyone's ears until they could only hear buzzing sounds. Everyone looked at the little divine dragon with curiosity. Didn't know the meaning behind his words, but daring to use his claws to point at a real dragon, Even if he was a little dragon, could it be he wasn't afraid of being slapped to death by one palm? This was the human race's misconception about the dragon race. Because the dragon race reproduced very slowly, therefore, all little dragons would receive superb protection. At this time, when the little divine dragon appeared, the real dragon's pair of eyes lit up. His originally huge body started to shrink in an instant, reducing to about 10 meters long. Afterwards, his body was like lightning as it directly landed on the battle stage. He floated in front of Su Luo. With regards to a human race's body like Su Luo's, this kind of real dragon was still very huge. The real dragon's pampering gaze looked at the little divine dragon gave off a soft light. At the same time, he extended a finger to poke at the little divine dragon's head. Unfortunately, his finger was too big. One finger was bigger than the little divine dragon's body. As a result, with one poke, the little divine dragon tumbled to the ground. Before the little divine dragon fell to the ground, the real dragon used dragon breath to suck the little divine dragon over, letting him sit on his head. Su Luo's heart had a faint not-so-good premonition. This real dragon seemed to have some kind of blood relationship with the little divine dragon. Sure enough, now the real dragon's sharp gaze shot towards Su Luo. The bottom of his eyes glittered with frost and snow, full of ruthlessness. Su Luo felt a strong murderous aura flying directly towards her. A chilliness rose from the soles of her feet. An enormous pressure like a towering mountain, from the top, dropped down on Su Luo's shoulder. Ah! Su Luo smothered a groan. A bloodstain slowly appeared at the corner of her mouth. Nangong Luyin was extremely furious. With one grab, he pulled Su Luo behind him. With a ruthless bloodthirsty gaze, he stared at the real dragon. Although the him right now wasn't the real dragon's opponent, but he would not hesitate to use his blood to battle. He had pledged his life to protect his beloved woman. Just when four eyes stared at each other, a small paw heavily smashed onto the real dragon's head. Awo awo awo. The little divine dragon was angry, standing on the real dragon's head, stamping down one foot after another in a rage while loudly shouting in fury. Seeing his own family's little brat flipping out, a helpless expression appeared in the real dragon's eyes. He grabbed the little divine dragon, with two fingers placing him in front of his eyes to look at him face to face. Awo awo awo. The little divine dragon accused in a furious tone. Awu, awu awu. The real dragon helplessly explained. Howl howl howl. The little divine dragon had both hands at his hips, body leaned forward as he continued to shout angrily. Awu awu awu. The real dragon explained with a good temper. The little divine dragon was not convinced. Then started another period of punching and kicking the real dragon. This play that unfolded made the people under the stage watching this dumbfounded. Each and every one of their eyes gleamed, looking at the stage in disbelief, afraid of missing any details. Really too mystical, right? Su Luo's spirit pet actually dared to beat up the real dragon. That was a real dragon, ah. Moreover, the more mystical thing was that the real dragon's temperament was actually this good, using a pampering and warm attitude to tolerate this time and time again. He even sighed helplessly. This simply toppled everyone at the scene's impression of the dragon race, okay? In their eyes, the dragon race had always been synonymous to savagery, brutality, callousness and reeking of blood. However, they had never seen such cuteness. Chapter 1560, Real Dragon appeared 4. At this time, on the VIP seats, those always calm old men were also dumbfounded as well. Actually a real dragon. How could this be? The real dragon will only appear for a second during roaming dragon list. Moreover, it always coldly looks down upon the human race with disdain, nobility and coldness. Only Grandmaster Rong Yin could converse with it as an equal. But now, a little dragon actually dared to beat a real dragon, also pointed at it and scolded it. And the opponent still pampered the little dragon to the extreme. Could it be that Su Luo's little dragon had something about it that was mystical? Hearing the little divine dragon and the real dragon's dialogue, Su Luo's eyebrows wrinkled slightly. She felt very regretful from the bottom of her heart. Had she known it would have turned out like this, she would not have let the little divine dragon jump out even if you killed her. Other people did not understand. But Su Luo and the little divine dragon had an equal contract relationship, so she could easily understand their conversation. The little divine dragon told the real dragon to increase Su Luo's elemental attribute, but the real dragon requested to take the little divine dragon away in exchange. Increasing an elemental attribute admittedly was important, but if the little divine dragon was to be taken away, Su Luo would find it very difficult to bear. She had watched over the little divine dragon since he broke out of his dragon egg. From that moment, he had always been by her side, accompanying to mature, to grow stronger together. During this period, there were countless times when Su Luo was in dangerous situations, and it was always the little divine dragon who stepped forward, bravely saving her from danger. If it wasn't for the little divine dragon, Su Luo would have died 100 times already. But now, the real dragon wanted to take the little divine dragon away. Su Luo naturally was unwilling. Su Luo didn't even think, her head moved like electricity, and snatched the little divine dragon, directly wanting to stuff him back into her space. However, at this moment, Su Luo realized she could not move. Domain seal. Damn domain seal. Su Luo was extremely angry. Her furious gaze stared at the real dragon. Damn it, how could every one of them use domain deal? But she couldn't. Now Su Luo really resented herself for not cultivating diligently, practicing only in fits and starts. Otherwise, she wouldn't be watching helplessly as the real dragon snatched the little divine dragon from her arms. Awu awu. The little divine dragon's eyes turned red, crying loudly as he was snatched away by the real dragon once again. But the real dragon only rubbed his head, showing no intention of letting him go. Insignificant humankind, like this is too weak. A cold voice, as if coming from ancient times, made people's heart tremble from the cold. At this time, Su Luo's whole body was frozen over, unable to move, unable to speak. Only her bloodshot eyes glared at the real dragon. It is not something an insignificant human should have. The real dragon's eyes gazed at the little divine dragon gently, but the little divine dragon very fiercely hit the real dragon's eye socket. The real dragon was hit head-on, but it could only poke the little divine dragon's head helplessly, in a spoiling manner. The real dragon had just finished speaking. Then it turned around to fly away with the little divine dragon. As it was flying away, a golden light penetrated the space between Su Luo's eyebrows. Soon after, the real dragon's figure disappeared. The little divine dragon was taken away by it. Su Luo's body still could not move, but her whole body emitted holy and pure transparent rays of light. These white rays of light enveloped her entire body, gently warming her and supporting her blood vessels. White rays of light. Old Man Li cried out in alarm. The hand which was stroking his white beard had suddenly tightened, pulling out a beard, showing how shocked he was at this time. The light elemental attribute. Old Man Luo's eyes were opened wide until they became round. One is dark elemental attribute, one is light elemental attribute. This really is a perfectly matched pair. Ah. Old Man Beiqing laughed repeatedly. Chapter 1561 Real Dragon appeared 5. The most important point isn't the light attribute, okay? The most important point is that every roaming dragon list competition, there's only one person who can increase their elemental attributes, Su Luo. How could she get such an opportunity? Old Man Li panted with rage as he glared. At the last competition, Luo Haoming went through incredible hardships to get this opportunity. At that time, the second place winner didn't get fart. And the second place winner from that time was from his Jade Lakesley family. Everyone looked at Old Man Li with sympathy. Old Man Luo was jealous and also not happy about the situation either. Last time, our Luo Haoming only got the weakest offense water element. Ah. How is it like this time? Ah. As if a huge broadcast. If it was not the strongest offensive dark element, then it was the healing light element. You must know, an apothecary with light elemental attribute, that leveling up speed can be compared to sitting on a rocket, so fast you could fly up. At this time, Grandmaster Rong Yun smiled faintly on the stage, very satisfied with this outcome. Noticing that Su Luo's expression was full of grief, he could not help but rub her small head. Don't be anxious, little divine dragon, and you have an equal contract, he won't disappear. The little divine dragon really might come back? Su Luo's eyes that were hazed over with fog suddenly shone. Aim. Grandmaster Rong Yin gave her a guarantee. Wait for the little divine dragon to be promoted to the commander rank. At that time, no one could stop him. Moreover, only if he returned to the dragon race would the road of his promotion be much faster. Haven't you sensed that him staying by your side, the little divine dragon hasn't advanced for quite some time? Mentioning this, Su Luo's eyes shone with guilt. In fact, recently, her strength continuously increased, but the little divine dragon's strength seemed to stagnate. The little divine dragon had long since had the strength to defeat Li Yaoxiang, but up until now, his strength had not grown much. Dragon race. Su Luo's eyes shone with a bright light. What Master said is right, maybe returning to his dad's side, his cultivation speed will increase. When the time comes, even if the little divine dragon doesn't come back, I will go search for him. Now this is good thinking. Grandmaster Rong Yin saw Su Luo finally put aside the sourness in her heart, then reminded her. Light attribute, your luck is really good. Why? Su Luo asked, somewhat puzzled. Foolish girl. Grandmaster Rong Yin grumpily took a glance at her. Wood and fire dual systems can become apothecary, but have no way to quickly promote one's cultivation. However, the light attribute already possessed the ability to heal, therefore, your ability to refine drugs will be promoted very fast. Grandmaster Rong Yin had always had an aloof and cold temperament. He's never said so much in one breath. This time he also could not be so calm. Quickly promote the ability to refine drugs. Su Luo cried out in surprise. For her, wasn't this the most suitable? She was originally gloomy about how she was going to be promoted to Grandmaster rank apothecary within 3 years. Now, wasn't this like given a pillow when she felt sleepy, so suitable? Like this is perfect. Su Luo nodded her head in satisfaction. But Su Luo looked at the horizon in the distance, and still let out a heavy regretful sigh. She really wished the little divine dragon could get promoted quickly, so he could quickly return to her side. He had just left, and she had already started to miss him. Nangong Luyan silently stood by Su Luo's side, embraced her body gently, and his warm breath puffed on her neck. Rest assured, I will always accompany you. His Luo girl seemed cold, but she feared being parted from people the most. Nangong Luyan made a promise by her side. MHM. We will never be separated. Su Luo smilingly nodded her head and embraced his slender hips, burying her face in his warm chest. Chapter 1562, Real Dragon appeared 6. Soon after, the real dragon left, and the dark fog dispersed. Dazzling sunlight poured down in torrents, quietly spilling on their bodies, casting off a tall and short shadow, giving off a tender atmosphere. Grandmaster Rong Yin looked at these two figures, listened to their promise to each other, but a trace of worry flashed through his eyes. Very soon he feared they wouldn't be able to fulfill their promise. But the two people, immersed in this tenderness, were completely unaware of it. Just when everyone thought the roaming dragon list competition had ended, Grandmaster Rong Yin announced the news to everyone. A month later, the top 7 people from the roaming dragon list would explore Roaming Dragon's secret territory. Roaming Dragon's secret territory? Everyone cried out in surprise. What the heck was that? How was it that no one had ever heard of it? But Grandmaster Rong Yin had always been indifferent. He wouldn't be kind-hearted enough to explain things clearly. Just this one sentence from him was already hard to come by. The top 7 people, their expressions differed, but clearly, their moods were all good. These 7 were Nangong Luyan, Su Luo, Li Haochen, Dongfeng Xian, Bei Chening, Ziyan, and there was still Luo Haoming. Su Luo's side's luck was pretty good. 4 of them entered the top 7. After Grandmaster Rong Yin left, everyone was puzzled, and discussed this spiritedly. Roaming Dragon's secret territory, what kind of thing is that? Don't know, never heard of it. Could it be a new place that was discovered for cultivation? Not sure. The rest of them looked at Su Luo perplexedly, but Su Luo helplessly shrugged her shoulders. I don't know either. Before, Master did not reveal anything. Suddenly tossing out this roaming dragon's secret territory. How would she know? Also, last time, Master did not reveal anything. Seeing they wouldn't learn anything from Su Luo, everyone just dispersed. Emperor Jing was very delighted. He laughed heartily. You two are unbelievable. Ha ha ha. How could Emperor Jing not be happy? The top 2 people on the roaming dragons list were both from Eastern Ling. Also, they both got an additional attribute at the same time. Moreover, it was the rarest dark elemental attribute and the light elemental attribute. Like this, what would the other 3 countries take out to compare with Eastern Ling? Eastern Ling could be said to have leapt straight into a super empire level. Not bad. Nangong Liuyun's face remained calm. Barely adequate. Su Luo remained smiling. The calmness of these 2 people made Emperor Jing seem to be excessively excited, but Emperor Jing did not feel embarrassed at all, and exclaimed loudly, in order to celebrate this unprecedented moment in history that has surpassed everything before and since, Eastern Ling will throw a 3-day party. Everyone in the empire can participate. As soon as he said it, all the people started to cheer and clap loudly. Most of the people here were from Eastern Ling. Therefore their excitement and happiness came from the heart. However, at this moment when everyone was happy, Li Yaoyao succumbed to a mental breakdown. Today, this was the 7th time Li Yaoyao vomited. Ever since she was sent back from before, Li Yoyo was imprisoned in a room and not allowed to go out. Li Aoqiong, her elder brother, originally would listen and obey her every word, clasping her in the palm of his hand. But after he brought her back, his gaze was filled with despise and loathing. That kind of look hurt Li Yaoyao deeply. Li Yaoyao lied on her bed blankly, her eyes vacant without spirit. Just in that position, lying for 7 days and 7 nights. Afterwards, a strong hatred let her choose to confront it staunchly. Su Luo, Ziyan, if you guys don't die, I Li Yaoyao absolutely won't die either. Finally, there will be a day when I Li Yaoyao will make you guys try the taste of a beggar. Chapter 1563. Minor details. 1. Li Yaoyao vowed silently in her heart. Afterwards, she started to persist to become stronger. She started to eat, started to let her body heal. But when it rains it pours, because Li Yaoyao vomited violently. As an apothecary, she was very clear what this represented. Li Yoyo felt for her own pulse nervously, and realized she was pregnant. Pregnant. This word, like a bolt of lightning, directly struck Li Yaoyao stupid. Li Yoyo's body swayed, with an expression pale as paper, sat on her bed, almost forgetting how to breathe. Her 2 hands stroked her abdomen gently, straightening the wrinkles again and again, her face depicting her unstable state. What to do? What to do? This was a bastard, how could it exist? Time and time again, Li Yaoyao's head was full of that dirty ugly beggar leaning over her, doing that thing. Every time she recalled it, she would vomit in the end, wishing she could strangle herself. This painful memory was buried deep in her heart. But today's vomiting let her find this dust-covered memory, and the pain almost made her die. That evening, first it was senior brother, then that other. Li Yaoyao simply didn't know who this child belonged to. But what she was sure of was that she simply did not want to have this child. If it was before, Li Yoyo would easily abort this child. But now she, as a waste, was locked up and didn't have any freedom. How was she to do it? The method Li Yaoyao decided on was very simple. She used force to hit her own belly. Even used a sharp object to ram against it. The pain made her become soaked in cold sweat, but she did not cry out. The thing in her belly. She must not let it stay. Not sure how long had passed, Li Yaoyao felt her belly go numb from the pain. Her eyes flashed, as she slowly collapsed. Then she sunk into a swamp-like darkness. Don't know how long passed, Li Yaoyao woke up from a coma. Lashes as thin as cicada's wings fluttered slightly. Li Yaoyao opened her eyes, and realized that her surroundings had changed a lot. She was originally locked in the firewood storage room. Her surroundings were simple and dirty. But now when her eyes opened, Li Yoyo realized that had returned to her own room. A dense shadow appeared in front of Li Yaoyao. Senior brother. Li Yoyo weakly looked at the magnified features in front of her. Dongfang Xian looked at Li Yaoyao, a trace of grief flashing through his eyes. His huge palm extended out, and rubbed Li Yoyo's head. Foolish girl, such an important thing. Why didn't you tell senior brother? A thread of pain flashed through Li Yoyo's eyes. Dong Fengxian looked at her with heartache and said in a soft voice, "You have seen your brother's child, why didn't you say anything?" Li Yaoyao's gaze was tangled with difficulty. She opened her mouth. "Foolish girl, could senior brother be such an irresponsible person?" Dong Fengxian's eyes were soft, his big hand stroking Li Yaoyao's belly. "Do you know how happy senior brother was when I heard the news?" Dong Fengxian's tone was soft as water. Gaze was deep, flickering with an indescribable and complicated light. Li Yaoyao turned her face away, choked with emotions. Even she had no idea whose this child was, okay? Compared to that beggar, the probability of this child being senior brother's was clearly lower. But seeing senior brother's earnest face, Li Yaoyao didn't know from where to begin explaining. Now Li Yaoyuan and Li Aoqiong, who were waiting outside, opened their eyes wide. Dong Fengxian's words. Could it be that night, the person who defiled Li Yaoyao was Dong Fengxian? Chapter 1564. Minor details, too. But then, how could Yaoyao appear naked on the broad street, and Dong Fengxian had the appearance of not knowing? Was there some mystery in this? Could it be that after Yaoyao was defiled by Dong Fengxian, there was another person? Although Li Yaoyuan felt this matter was unbelievable, however, he couldn't help think in this direction. No matter what, the fact was that Fairy Yaoyao was pregnant. The fact Dong Fengxian had touched Yaoyao was also true. Moreover, he personally admitted the child in Yaoyao's belly was his. This couldn't be better. Although Dong Fengxian couldn't be compared to Nangong Luyin, however, he was second only to Nangong Luyin. Now Yaoyao was already a waste. If she could be married to Dong Fengxian to win him over to Jade Lakesley family, this business transaction was really profitable. Thinking of this, how could Li Yaoyuan let Li Yaoyao say those words? With a bang, he used force to open the door. Li Yaoyuan, with a gloomy gaze, stared at Dong Fengxian, full of a deterrence force. "Dong Fengxian, this is the good thing you did." The corner of Dong Fengxian's mouth had a light smile. He stood up and nodded towards Li Yaoyuan. "Honorable father-in-law." Father-in-law? Li Yaoyuan's face turned into the color of pig's liver. He as the father still hadn't flared up, and Dong Fengxian directly called him father-in-law. How could he flare up? He originally came to force Dong Fengxian to marry Li Yaoyao. Li Yaoyuan, panting in rage, tossed his sleeves. His gaze was very strict as he glared at Dong Fengxian. "You know, to take responsibility is best. Otherwise, humph." Dong Fengxian continued to maintain his smile. "Honorable father-in-law's teaching, I accept. Quickly complete the marriage." Li Yaoyuan forcefully said. "This needs to wait until master returns." Dong Fengxian smilingly looked at Li Yaoyao. "Without master presiding over it, I really don't dare to complete the wedding." Li Yaoyao and Dong Fengxian were both the personal disciples of Purgatory City's master. If he wasn't present, then what could the marriage be considered as? Li Yaoyuan was choked by Dong Fengxian's words. Suddenly, he had no words to say. Li Yaoyao laid on the bed, with her whole body weak, and with a faint breathing as if she would faint at any time. She hadn't said anything, and it was decided that she would be married to senior brother? Recalling that night senior brother forced her to do those things, a trace of fear and defiance flashed through Li Yaoyao's eyes. "No, Li Yaoyao hadn't finished saying her words of refusal, and was fiercely glared by Li Yaoyuan's knife-like expression. "Shut up," Li Yaoyuan said strictly. "You, this loathsome girl that doesn't know honor or shame, simply lost all of Jade Lakesley family's face. Here doesn't have a place for you to speak." Soon after, Li Yaoyuan turned around and left. Li Aoqiong, with a complicated gaze, looked at Dong Fengxian, who was looking at Li Yaoyao tenderly. He shook his head and followed behind Li Yaoyuan to leave. Li Aoqiong didn't know whether his father's decision was right or wrong, but at least with regard to the current Jade Lakesley family, this couldn't be a more wonderful choice. The matter of Li Yaoyao being pregnant, although Jade Lakesley family concealed it tightly, but there was no wall that the wind couldn't penetrate through in this world. Not long after the fact Li Yaoyao was pregnant came to Ziyan's ear. Because Su Luo handed this matter completely to Ziyan. In the beginning, Ziyan thought of this possibility, so she paid even more attention to Jade Lakesley family's every move. So she got the news very quickly. Really pregnant? Su Luo's eyes were opened wide. Yes, really true. Li Yaoyao tried to get rid of this child, however, this child could be considered very lucky. Li Yaoyao fainted from the pain, and the child wasn't aborted and was stubbornly saved by Dongfang Xian. Ziyan smilingly picked up a grape and slowly peeled it, with a ghost of a smile taking joy in other people's misfortune. Chapter 1565, Minor Details 3. Dongfang Xian really thinks that child is his? Su Luo covered up a smile. Really can't say otherwise, Dongfang Xian doesn't suspect it a bit. He admitted at the scene and promised to marry Li Yaoyao. However, the time will have to wait for Master to return. Saying up to here, Ziyan smiled. Honorable Master is like a mysterious dragon. Can't see his head or tail. Heaven knows when he will return. Then Li Yaoyao, wouldn't she have a big belly before marriage? The more she thought about it, the happier she was. Because she recalled the first time she saw Li Yaoyao. That time, the eyes came from her jade-like bones, flying by like an immortal, like a fairy that was above the common people. She was perfect, pure without any dust, incorruptible. But with this kind of image, she actually carried a big belly and couldn't be married off. Su Luo really wanted to look to the sky and laugh for a long time. That's right, the beggar. Su Luo asked this sentence full of interest. You should rest assured, I already locked up that beggar. Speaking of this matter, Ziyan seemed to be very interested. That time, when Li Yaoyao returned home, all the beggar on that street disappeared in one night. In this, there was something meaningful. PFF. Su Luo sprayed out a laugh. First, keep the beggar in custody. At a critical time he might be useful. This will depend on Li Yaoyao's luck. If Li Yaoyao were to accept her fate and live with Dongfang Sun, and don't think of those useless things, then Su Luo certainly would write off past grudges. But if Li Yaoyao wasn't content with her situation and insisted on working against her, then Su Luo didn't mind letting the world know about Li Yaoyao's matter with the beggar. That's right, the secret dragon territory. What kind of place is it? Ziyan found the time to ask. Su Luo recalled Master's instructions and said, "This must ask Master in order to find out." As a result, in order to get the inside scoop, Su Luo once again ran to Grandmaster Rong Yun's courtyard. Grandmaster Rong Yun sat inside the courtyard with the sunlight slanting down, making his pure white as snow robe seem even more holy. The corner of his robe was folded into layers, with the shadows from the rays of light dancing like butterflies. This made him look as perfect as a god. Su Luo's arrival broke the surrounding tranquility. Master. Su Luo sat in front of Grandmaster Rong Yun. Grandmaster Rong Yun's faint gaze landed on her face. With wrinkled good-looking eyebrows he said, "Came to ask things?" Master is amazing, and the guess immediately hit the mark. Su Luo wrapped around Grandmaster Rong Yun's arm and rubbed against his arm. Master, in the end, what is the secret dragon territory? Seeing that the group of people was about to leave, Grandmaster Rong Yun also no longer concealed the matter. His gaze looked faintly into the distance. After quite a while he said, "Secret dragon territory is this time's accidentally discovered new territory. But Master and those several elders all couldn't go in." Ah, why? Su Luo's eyes shone. Because secret dragon territory has an age restriction. Grandmaster Rong Yun smiled bitterly as he shook his head. Only people below 30 can enter. Same age limit as those participating in the roaming dragon list. Su Luo frowned slightly, and Grandmaster Rong Yun gave a hum that seemingly wasn't there. In here. Is there a relationship? Su Luo rested her chin on both hands, gaze shining brightly. That place is a land that has never been explored. But what can be determined is that there are many opportunities inside. Especially. Grandmaster Rong Yun's gaze became deep. A piece of the map to the secluded necropolis of the gods is inside. Now Su Luo's heart suddenly trembled. Master, are you certain? Chapter 1566, Master Instructs 1, N. Grandmaster Rong Yun nodded, able to sense it. A piece of the map to the secluded necropolis of the gods? Su Luo already had 2 pieces in her hands. If she could find another in the secret dragon territory, that really There are still 10 days before we leave. Master, and you guys won't go? Su Luo stared at Grandmaster Rong Yun in a spoiling manner. Can't go in. Not because they didn't want to go, rather, they couldn't enter. Grandmaster Rong Yun was also helpless. A piece of the map to the secluded necropolis of the gods. What family, which power didn't want it? But they just couldn't go in, worrying people to death. Master should rest assured. This disciple will certainly return with the map piece for you. Su Luo said, as if making a solemn vow. You are just this certain? Grandmaster Rong Yin humphed indifferently. The corner of Su Luo's mouth hooked up in a crafty smile, her right hand opening. Very quickly, a sparkling translucent light flashed by, and a shabby map appeared in the palm of her hand. Master, look. Su Luo happily handed over the map for Master to look. Grandmaster Rong Yin accepted it without much hope. After sweeping it once, his expression changed. Soon after, he used a disbelieving gaze to look at Su Luo. His expression was complete disbelief. How is this possible? Even Grandmaster Rong Yin, this kind of absolute strong expert, was shaken by Su Luo's largesse. A section of the map to the secluded necropolis of the gods. The 10 great powerful families and those powers hidden in the dark. Who didn't want a piece of the map to the secluded necropolis of the gods? But these powerful families and powers all came up empty-handed, whereas Su Luo already had 2 pieces. There were only 4 sections to the map of the secluded necropolis of the gods. Su Luo, this weak greenhorn little girl, actually had 2 sections of the map. Grandmaster Rong Yin took a deep breath and suppressed the shock in his heart. You, this girl. Grandmaster Rong Yin extended his huge palm to rub her head with strength. He never expected that she would bring such a pleasant surprise to him. You must know so many powers, including himself, hadn't found a single piece of the map to the secluded necropolis of the gods. It's just luck. Su Luo was praised until she embarrassedly scratched the back of her head. The first piece was from Su Manor, when I went to steal celestial spirit water. This piece of the map was hidden in that box, so I took it together. Just took it together? The blue veins on Grandmaster Rong Yun's forehead jumped out. Otherwise, how could she have inserted in this chase from the dark? She even casually took it back. As for the second piece of the map, that was hidden in Jade Lakesley family's heavenly spirit cup. After breaking the cup, this section of the map automatically flew into my hand. Speaking of the second part of the map, Su Luo felt embarrassed. This was simply earning it for free. She didn't spend any strength and got this piece of the map to the secluded necropolis of the gods that every influential power longed for. You, this girl, really is a lucky star. Grandmaster Rong Yin really was impressed by Su Luo's luck. This kind of luck, it would be impossible to find another person with it in this world. I also don't know. But it's real that my luck is good. Su Luo nodded her head to express her agreement. Several times when she sank into desperate straits and was on the verge of death, she would always get a lucky break to avoid disaster. If you were to say she had bad luck, even Su Luo didn't believe it. But just relying on luck is not okay. To walk in this world, the most important is still to rely on strength. Grandmaster Rong Yin handed the 2 pieces of map that was pieced together back to Su Luo. This disciple knows. Su Luo blinked her eyes. Master, maybe you should keep these sections of the map? Chapter 1567, Master Instructs 2. You keep it. Grandmaster Rong Yin did not allow her to comment and pushed back that section of the map. It's also because your luck is good, having a space formed from the son of a dragon. Otherwise, when these 2 pieces of maps fused, people would have already sensed it. Can be sensed? Su Luo eagerly asked. Normally no, otherwise this piece of the map that was in Su Manor would have already been discovered by people. Grandmaster Rong Yin waved his hand. He had gone to Su Manor before and completely didn't sense it. Grandmaster Rong Yin continued to say, but when the 2 pieces of the map fuse, it would squeeze out the force of heaven and earth. It would cause fluctuations in the spirit force. Strong experts that are close by would all be able to sense it. The strong experts Grandmaster Rong Yin was talking about were at least those at Elder Ancestor Mo's level. Su Luo heard this, and she secretly rejoiced in her heart. Fortunately, when the two pieces of the map fused, it was in her space, otherwise, she wouldn't be able to protect these two pieces of the map. When you collect all 4 sections of the map, a trace of sorrow flashed through Grandmaster Rong Yun's eyes. But it flitted by so fast that Su Luo didn't even sense it. Su Luo used her pair of large, clear and monochrome eyes to look at Grandmaster Rong Yun, flickering with curiosity. Master, when the 4 pieces of the map are gathered together, what will happen? At that time, maybe you will be able to see your mother. Grandmaster Rong Yun pondered for a period, then came his faint voice. Really? Su Luo's eyes shot out colors of excitement. She would finally be able to see her unparalleled mother that could enchant a countless number of strong experts and cause the downfall of cities? Before hearing everyone's description of the goddess Yanhua, Su Luo was already very curious. Now, she knew there was a chance to see her. Naturally, Su Luo would be super excited. My mom isn't dead? Su Luo thought of this problem. In fact, she had always thought her mom had already. Don't know. Grandmaster Rong Yun's mood was somewhat low. His gaze was indistinct and deep, as if pondering something complicated. She could make out that Master's mood wasn't good, so Su Luo also couldn't continue to question closely. Because she knew, Mother was Master's soft spot. She was his happiest and most painful heartbreak inside. Every time it was touched he would feel pain so. Su Luo swallowed the words at the tip of her tongue. Sure enough, Grandmaster Rong Yun didn't want to continue talking about this topic. He changed the subject. Master has never explored the secret dragon territory. But I have sensed the aura inside. For weak people to go in is just looking for death. Hiccup, Su Luo pursed her lips. In Master's eyes, she was also in the situation of not having enough strength, right? Although you have elder ancestor Mo, that puppet. But he can protect you at this time. But not for a lifetime. Only when your strength becomes strong. Then that's real strength. Grandmaster Rong Yun earnestly instructed. Yes. Su Luo obediently agreed. In less than 3 years' time, you have already become 9th rank. Although this speed can be said to not be slow, but you neglected a point. Grandmaster Rong Yun stopped here. Which point? Su Lu's eyes flashed with light. Grandmaster Rong Yun's brows wrinkled slightly. He didn't directly tell Su Luo, rather, his hand made a seal. A complicated hand seal, like a golden ball, flashed in midair. Soon after, Su Luo only felt her eyes blur for a second. When she could see again, there were huge changes in her surroundings. Although it was still Master's courtyard, but she felt she had entered nothingness of space. This nothingness of space was very big. So big that Su Luo simply couldn't see its end. In all direction was the folds of space. Su Luo wanted to leave, but simply couldn't find a way out. Suddenly, Su Luo felt her gaze blur again, and a figure calmly stood in front of Su Luo. Chapter 1568, Master Instructs 3, Luo Haoming? Su Luo frowned. After going through numerous fights on the imitation battle stage, Su Luo knew that the Luo Haoming in front of her wasn't the real Luo Haoming. Rather, he was a virtual image Master helped to create. But this Luo Haoming's strength was exactly the same as the real one's. This is Master's nothingness of space. Grandmaster Rong Yun's faint voice was transmitted to Su Luo's mind. Sure enough, Su Luo nodded secretly in her heart. In here you can't call out your spirit pets and there is no elder ancestor Mo to help you. You can only rely on yourself for everything. Grandmaster Rong Yun's tone was indifferent and unfeeling. Su Luo heard this and she helplessly sighed. Ask her to rely on her real strength to battle Luo Haoming? Wasn't this asking her to throw away her life? Here is not like the imitation battle stage, that even if you are wounded inside, when you get out, you will be perfectly fine. Grandmaster Rong Yun's faint voice flashed through Su Luo's mind. In this nothingness of space, Luo Haoming is fake but you are real. Su Luo's heart, with a thump, fell. Suddenly, she had a bad premonition. Sure enough, Grandmaster Rong Yun's voice once again sounded by her ear. That is to say, if you die inside here, then that means you really are dead. Grandmaster Rong Yun's last sentence was like the hammer on a nail, final. Master. Su Luo, at a loss, looked all around. Luo Haoming A strong expert at the peak of 10th rank. 10 years ago, he got the first place in roaming dragon list based on his strength. Okay? Won't let her summon elder ancestor mo. Won't let her summon spirit pets. With nothing to rely on. How could she beat him? Moreover, this was real. If she died, it was real. This was really frightening. However, not waiting for Su Luo to finish silently cursing, the Luo Haoming facing her suddenly launched a strong attack. This time, Luo Haoming didn't use an elemental attack. He waved his fist and directly rushed over. Su Luo saw the situation wasn't good. It seemed as if the soles of her feet had oil, and she used spirit dance steps and, like a wisp of smoke, ran off. Luo Haoming's speed was also not slow. He flew out from the side and directly sent a kick to Su Luo's back. Poof! Su Luo felt as if her entire skeleton was about to fall apart. She gave a suppressed groan as a thread of blood appeared at the corner of her mouth. Luo Haoming was really ruthless. That kick, he used all his strength, almost making Su Luo pass out on the spot. After all, he was an expert at the peak of 10th rank. Su Luo simply wasn't his opponent. Taking advantage of the moment Su Luo was still dizzy, Luo Haoming flew up high and once again kicked towards Su Luo's chest. PFFF, while Su Luo's body flew backwards, a mouthful of blood sprayed on Luo Haoming's face, dyeing his face into a pig liver color. But what about Su Luo herself? At this moment, she was kicked flying extremely high, then, she fell in a parabola curve. Bang! Su Luo's body fell heavily to the ground. The fall made her very dizzy, so painful that she grimaced. She wished she could beat Master to death. Just at this time, Luo Haoming once again caught up. Soon after, with his face dyed in warm blood, he forced a seal with 5 fingers. Then he smiled twistedly. Su Luo, go die. Once this sentence was said, Luo Haoming lifted up his feet and heavily stamped down. The pitiful Su Luo, in front of Luo Haoming, who was at the peak of 10th rank, she simply didn't have the ability to attack. She could only try to ward him off. Moreover, she couldn't even ward him off. After all, one was at the beginning of 9th rank, and the other was at the peak of 10th rank. Just at this critical juncture, a ruthless light flashed through Su Luo's eyes. If she was stamped on by Luo Haoming, then her 5 viscera and 6 bowels would definitely turn into slags. Master definitely wouldn't extend a hand to save her. Now, she could only rely on herself. Chapter 1569. Master instructs. For just when Luo Haoming's feet were about to land heavily, Su Luo gathered all her spirit strength in her body, and a nothingness of space enveloped Luo Haoming's body. At the same time, she controlled the speed in her own nothingness of space. Luo Haoming was stupefied by the nothingness of space that suddenly arose for a bit. Taking advantage of his short period of being distracted, Su Luo did a flip and landed on Luo Haoming's back. The dagger in her hand ruthlessly slid across his neck. Su Luo's speed exploded to her fastest, but what made Su Luo depressed was that when she cut at Luo Haoming's neck, she couldn't break his defense. At this moment, there wasn't even a trace on Luo Haoming's neck. Luo Haoming very quickly returned to his senses. He laughed sinisterly, his hand reaching back and grabbing Su Luo before she had time to dodge. Luo Haoming's hand was like an iron plier, strong and powerful, almost making Su Luo cry out in pain from being gripped. The bones in her wrist almost broke into pieces from being gripped. Just at this moment, the most miserable thing happened to Su Luo. One only saw Luo Haoming use both hands to grab Su Luo on his back and give Su Luo a fierce toss forward. Bang! A violent noise sounded, and Su Luo's entire person was smashed in front of Luo Haoming, tossed to the ground like a sandbag. But how strong was Luo Haoming's strength? Although Su Luo's nothingness of space slowed down his speed by a bit, but it had no way to decrease his strength. Now Su Luo was so ruthlessly smashed to the ground. Her 5 viscera and 6 bowels almost shifted. Her whole body seemed to have been broken into tiny pieces. Su Luo was in so much pain that her vision blurred. With great difficulty and pain, she half opened her eyes. At this moment, Luo Haoming's figure blurred in front of her eyes, unable to be seen clearly. So painful. Su Luo groaned repeatedly. Luo Haoming slowly walked towards Su Luo, approaching step by step. Sensing danger approaching, subconsciously, Su Luo wanted to shift backwards. But what made her depressed until she cried was that she simply could not control her own body. Although she subconsciously wanted to dodge, but she was in so much pain that she couldn't move. Luo Haoming laughed sinisterly and crazily, looking like a bloodthirsty lunatic. His gaze was like an ice sword, staring fixedly at Su Luo. Finally he shouted, "Loathsome girl, go die!" Soon after, Luo Haoming lifted his foot up high, not showing mercy for the fairer sex master. "If you don't make a move soon, your disciple will be stamped to death." Su Luo cried out in her heart, wanting to cry but lacking the tears. It's not that she didn't want to dodge, but rather that she just couldn't control her own body. Just at this time, suddenly, Su Luo felt her gaze blur. The foot that was about to step on her belly suddenly disappeared. Su Luo half opened her eyes and discovered that the scene had already changed in front of her. "Master!" Su Luo called with a trace of faint blame. Such a ruthless master, sitting there so calmly, while leisurely drinking tea on the side, watching her being fiercely beaten. Grandmaster Rongyun helplessly looked at Su Luo and took a deep breath. Then he tossed her a pill for injuries. "Eat it." Oh. Su Luo took that very pretty medicinal pill. She took a glance and discovered that she didn't recognize it. Then, without thinking, she swallowed it. The medicinal pill entered her stomach, and a warm aura slowly rose from her dantian. Soon after, with the speed the eye could see, it traveled all through her body like a water snake, with a speed that astonished people. In less than 1 hour, just now Su Luo, who was on her last breath and about to die, suddenly could jump up. Once again, her body was restored to its original strong state. Chapter 1570, Master Instructs 5. Su Luo rubbed her belly where the medicinal pill had already taken effect. Her eyes shone brightly. "What kind of pill is this? The speed of healing is too good, oh?" Grandmaster Rongyun looked at that clear footprint on Su Luo's clothing, and the corner of his mouth twitched. "Emperor-level healing panacea." Emperor-level healing panacea? The muscle at the corner of Su Luo's mouth twitched. "Is there a problem?" Grandmaster Rongyun faintly asked, his expression the same as always. "How could I have a problem?" Su Luo fumed with rage between gritted teeth. "Master, Emperor rank is above Grandmaster rank, right?" And Grandmaster Rongyun faintly nodded without any concern. "Is this Emperor-level healing panacea refined by Master?" Su Luo pursued closely and asked, "Is there a problem?" The corner of Grandmaster Rongyun's mouth hooked up into an almost invisible smile. "Master, that is to say now you are an Emperor-level apothecary?" Su Luo almost choked on her own saliva. Elder Luo was still stuck at Master-level apothecary. In this world, there was only Master, this Grandmaster-level apothecary. Master actually is an Emperor-ranked apothecary? How could she, as the little disciple, not feel excited? Not be touched by his glory? Elder Luo will be promoted soon. Grandmaster Rongyun's eyes narrowed as he slowly said, "A pity, no matter if he gets promoted or not, he still won't catch up to Master's speed." Su Luo's eyes bent into half-moons from happiness, like a rat that had an affair. "Oh, that's right. Didn't Master just get promoted to Grandmaster rank in the past several years? How was it that you were so quickly promoted to Emperor rank? Could it be that Emperor rank apothecary was just that easy to be promoted?" Grandmaster Rongyun shook his head. This master had already been a Grandmaster rank apothecary for many years, just didn't tell anyone. "Okay." Su Luo nodded, expressing she understood. Master had always been low profile, calm and aloof from worldly affairs. People in the world not knowing is also normal. This time, getting promoted to Emperor rank is also thanks to you. Grandmaster Rongyun, with a ghost of a smile, looked at Su Luo. "Me." Su Luo extended out a finger and pointed at her own nose. "At that time when you were seriously hurt and couldn't be healed." Grandmaster Rongyun only said these words, but what he didn't say, Su Luo completely understood. Master was worried about her injuries. While telling her to challenge the 9 different palace halls, he also intensified his speed to be promoted, walking these 2 roads at the same time. But unexpectedly, both roads were successfully traversed. Her injuries were cured in the 9 different palace halls, And Grandmaster Rongyun also was promoted to Emperor rank. Master. Su Luo looped her arm over Grandmaster Rongyun's and rubbed several times against his arms. Her heart felt soft. Foolish girl. Grandmaster Rongyun patted Su Luo's head. Are your injuries all good now? And completely healed. Thanks to Master's Emperor-level healing panacea. Su Luo's smile was as splendid as a flower. Grandmaster Rongyun pinched Su Luo's little arms and legs. While pinching, he revealed a disdainful expression. Su Luo weakly stuck out her tongue. Master, it really is all healed. Shouldn't he take a pulse? Why did he pinch her small hand? Unexpectedly, Grandmaster Rongyun's eyes were like ice knives shooting toward Su Luo. Just now, asked you to fight. Did you understand? Huh. A question that came out of nowhere made Su Luo stupefied. Ponder it well. Grandmaster Rongyun patted her head. Under Grandmaster Rongyun's ice-cold gaze, Su Luo's mind quickly pondered the critical point of this matter. Before the fight, Master had said her cultivation had slanted off the path. Now he pinched her muscles and bones. Maybe it's related to this. Suddenly, Su Luo's eyes lit up. Could it be that my foundation wasn't set properly? Chapter 1571, Master Instructs 6. You aren't completely stupid. Grandmaster Rongyun judged without a trace of politeness. The element law foundation being bad is fine, but your body's foundation is a complete mess. With one push and you will fall. Hiccup. Su Luo at a loss bit her lips. Master's words were truly reasonable. In the process of cultivating, her focus had always been on cultivating based on the laws of the element. This route promotion was very fast. In 3 years she jumped to 9th rank. Surveying the entire world, from antiquity to now, there weren't many that had her speed of cultivation. But the foundation of her body indeed was very bad. Even worse than her previous life's body. Grandmaster Rongyun helplessly looked at Su Luo. Do you know how to cultivate your body? It seems to be to cultivate the muscle, bone, blood and skin. Su Luo's brows were tied into a knot. When cultivating, it really is inconvenient. Moreover, it wasn't something that could be cultivated in a day or two. It was really a road full of bitter hardship that you must force yourself to continue cultivating. Muscle, bone, blood, skin, every type must be cultivated. To cultivate it to the peak, one must waste how much time and effort. There was also pain and weariness, okay? The things Su Luo practiced in her previous life, placed in this time period, were merely superficial knowledge. But she spent more than 10 years on it. To cultivate a body's foundation was something that really made a person complain continuously. So you aren't really stupid. No, to cultivate muscle, bone, blood and skin. But you never cultivated it before, right? Grandmaster Rongyun's gaze stared unwaveringly at Su Luo. Su Luo's head hung down from having a guilty conscience. When she first crossed over, she was the legendary good-for-nothing waste. She still thought of walking the path in her previous life to cultivate the body. One was to be able to walk around the world horizontally, but afterwards, Nangong Luyun helped her activate her elemental attributes. From that moment on, she wholeheartedly immersed herself in cultivating the elemental laws. She practically dropped the cultivation of her body. You, this girl, have walked on the wrong path and you are completely unaware of it. Grandmaster Rongyun poked at her head in annoyance. Master, then what am I to do? Su Luo weakly asked. Could it be she had to start from the most basic level? What's to be done? It's easy to do. The corner of Grandmaster Rongyun's mouth hooked up indistinctly, giving off the appearance of quickly beseech me. Master, I beg you quickly say it. Su Luo rocked Grandmaster Rongyun's arm. Her tone had a slight coquettishness. She knew that acting coquettish was most useful against Master. Sure enough, Grandmaster impatiently waved his hand. Enough, follow Master. Grandmaster Rongyun stood up and directly walked inside, and Su Luo eagerly followed behind. Although Master said it was easy to do, then this matter was certainly doable. Maybe it could be done effortlessly, where Master could suddenly promote the basic foundation of her body. While Grandmaster Rongyun was walking, he also said, a body's foundation is divided into 10 levels. Now you have already been promoted to the 9th rank, But your body's foundation is only TSK at the second rank. PFF. Su Luo almost fiercely spit out a mouthful of blood. Second rank. Her body's foundation was only second rank? Master, that can't be right? How do you know? There didn't seem to be a standard to measure a body's foundation, ah? Before, Su Luo had never heard anyone mention this. At one glance, I can tell. Grandmaster Rongyun's expression was indifferent. Okay, Su Luo immediately shut up. An existence like her master, why would he even need to test her? His eyes were the best testing equipment, okay? However, when she recalled that her body's foundation was only at second rank, Su Luo had the urge to cry madly. Chapter 1572, Master Instructs 7. Just because your body's foundation is too lacking, didn't lay a firm base, so you would collapse at the first blow from Luo Haoming's attack just now. Grandmaster Rongyun shook his head. This time going to the secret dragon territory, it's very dangerous inside. There are even traces of the mystic clan's movement. Just based on your body's foundation to go in. Whether you can come out alive is uncertain. Hiccup. Su Luo continued to want to cry madly. Take advantage that there is still some time, properly set your body's foundation. Then the future road would be smooth. What Grandmaster Rongyun said today must be the most he had said in his entire life. Completely didn't agree with his immortal-like aura. He was like an old man that chattered on nonstop. It could be seen how shocked he was at Su Luo body's foundation being only in the second rank. Grandmaster Rongyun brought Su Luo to the refining room. Inside was arranged very simply. Besides a medicinal cauldron, there was nothing else. Grandmaster Rongyun waved his hand, and on the empty table sudden appeared a wooden cask. The lip of the wooden cask was closed very tightly. Su Luo was completely unable to tell what was inside. Go into bath in the barrel. Grandmaster instructed in a faint voice. From now on, pour all the medicine inside the wooden cask into the bath, and soak for a whole day and night. This is... what kind of stuff? Su Luo opened the wooden cask with curiosity. She almost vomited from being stung by the sharp smell of blood. Burning blood medicine. Grandmaster Rongyun didn't conceal it from her, and after saying these 3 simple words, he turned around and left. Burning blood medicine? What kind of medicine was this? Su Luo scanned all the medicine books she memorized once, and didn't find any information regarding this burning blood medicine. Forget it, in any case, Master wouldn't harm her. After Su Luo took a bath, she jumped into the medicinal cauldron Master left behind. Soon after, she poured the entire wooden cask of burning blood medicine into the medicinal cauldron. If people were to know Su Luo actually used burning blood medicine to bathe in, they would definitely faint. Burning blood medicine really stank. It had a bloody flavor that assailed the nostrils. But it also gave off a faint sweet smell. The scent was very unusual. Su Luo had never smelled it on any animal or plant life. This scent made one feel sleepy. Su Luo pinched her nose and applied the bad-smelling burning blood medicine on her entire body. She even applied it on her face. Not long after, Su Luo leaned against the medicinal cauldron's wall and fell asleep. With the passing of time, the burning blood medicine gradually released its effect. With a burst of a slight stinging feeling, Su Luo woke up. But before Su Luo could collect her thoughts, suddenly, an intense pain like being shocked by electricity quickly flowed through her body. Su Luo sucked in a breath of cold air from the pain. So painful. How could this burning blood medicine be so painful? Master didn't say it in the beginning, ah. But even if Master had said it, Su Luo would still apply this medicine on her body. But it was still considered good. That pain flashed by in an instant and passed. Even though it was painful, it was only for a very short time. Su Luo comforted herself in her heart. But it was very clear that Su Luo had relaxed too early. Because not long after, it was another 2 consecutive electric shocks. One started from the head and went towards her feet. Another came from her feet and headed towards her head. The 2 electric currents were like roaming snakes, quickly going through her body. Su Luo sucked in a breath of cold air. Really painful. That current from just now almost made Su Luo pass out from the pain. In an instant, cold sweat appeared on Su Luo's forehead. Not waiting for Su Luo to finish silently cursing, another 4 electric currents passed through. 8 electric currents. 16 electric currents. 32 electric currents. A countless number of electric currents that covered the sky attacked towards Su Luo. Chapter 1573. Master Instructs. 8. Su Luo's body was like an electrical network, and these electrical current crisscrossed and tried to roam all over her body. Fuck. Su Luo cursed darkly. Just this word, and Su Luo still trembled uncontrollably before being able to curse it out. Because right now, Su Luo's whole person was curled up together, shuddering uncontrollably all over her body. She gritted her teeth and unwaveringly endured. Now Su Luo's forehead was dripping with cold sweat. Her breathing was weak, as if she was about to pass out. Su Luo had celestial spirit water in her space. As long as she was willing, she could wash clean this layer of dirty burning blood medicine on her body. But Su Luo did her best to restrain this thought. She could faintly feel that this burning blood medicine wasn't just an ordinary medicine. It ought to be very rare, otherwise, Master wouldn't wait until now to take it out for her to use. Hurting until the end. Su Luo's pair of eyes closed, sinking into a thick mud-like darkness. Su Luo didn't know when she woke up, but when she woke up, the sky outside had gradually started to get brighter. Through the window, she could see the orange color of the dawn, bringing about the endless vitality of the sunlight. Su Luo returned to her senses and looked at her own body in amazement. She remembered that before, the pain had made her nerves go numb. In the end, she had passed out from the pain. But now, after waking up, Su Luo discovered that her body didn't have a trace of pain. On the contrary, she felt light and a lot better than before. Such a strange feeling. Moreover, Su Luo discovered that the burning blood medicine that she had smeared on her body and caused her so much pain as to hover between life and death, was now like oil paint that automatically peeled off. Very quickly, under the medicinal cauldron, was soon a floor full of pieces of burning blood medicine. On Su Luo's body, it looked like an egg that had just been peeled. It was really clean, sparkling and translucent, a pure white luster floating around her. Just when Su Luo was puzzled and at a loss, a voice came from her mind. "You can come out now." This pure and cold tone, besides Su Luo's master, who else could it be? After Su Luo finished dressing, with quick steps she ran out. When she ran out, Su Luo could clearly feel the changes on her body. This change made her feel really mystified. "Master." Turning around a corner, she saw Master idly sunbathing. And Grandmaster Rong Yun looked at the sky with sunlight faintly peeking through. He answered faintly, "Master, it's a really mystifying feeling. How is it that I feel that my body has become a lot lighter?" Su Luo's heart was full of curiosity. Now, she had completely forgotten the bitter pain she suffered last night. Grandmaster Rong Yun retrieved his gaze and cast it on Su Luo's body. After aiming a glance at her, he turned his head away. "How is it? Master, how is it?" Su Luo swayed Grandmaster Rong Yun's arm. Only Su Luo could get within a 10-meter range of Grandmaster Rong Yun, and still dare to have no qualms of swaying his arms in a spoiling manner. "Barely passable." Grandmaster Rong Yun's brows wrinkled. "Barely passable, ah? Now is the foundation of my body still at second rank?" Su Luo's gaze sank down, her mood turning bad in an instant. "Second rank? You think the effect of Master's burning blood medicine is garbage?" Grandmaster Rong Yun poked Su Luo's head in displeasure. "This time, you advance by 2 levels, so barely passable." 2 levels? Su Luo's eyes instantly shone. From the beginning till yesterday, she was only merely at second rank. Now she rose 2 levels in succession. Then isn't the foundation of her body at the 4th rank? The more she advanced, the harder it was to get promoted, right? It could be seen that it's not that she didn't advance a lot. Rather, her master's requirement was too harsh. Chapter 1574, Master Instructs 9. "Master, according to normal cultivation speed, how long do I have to cultivate to raise my body's foundation by 2 levels? Su Luo impatiently asked. Sure enough, Grandmaster Rong Yun's words after confirmed Su Luo's thought. The result is equivalent to you cultivating your body's foundation for 2 years, barely enough. Grandmaster Rong Yun nodded his head. Suffering pain for a day was equivalent to cultivating the body's foundation for 2 years? This business was simply too worth it, okay? This simply defied the laws of nature, okay? Don't know from what place this treasure of burning blood medicine came from, to have such efficiency. Su Luo blinked her large monochrome eyes and curiously looked at her master. But Grandmaster Rong Yun had no intention of telling her and only said, "Still need to continue." "Master, your meaning is?" Su Luo had a bad premonition in her heart. With a 4th-ranked body's foundation, and you dare to go to secret dragon territory? Grandmaster Rong Yun humphed twice, bluntly ordering, "If you body's strength doesn't reach 9th rank, don't even think about going anywhere." 9th rank? Cough, cough, cough. Su Luo was choked by her own saliva. 9th rank, ah. It wasn't 5th, 6th, 7th, or 8th rank, but rather, 9th rank. Had Nangong Liuyun's body's foundation reached the 9th rank? Su Luo really wanted to ask Master this question. That stinky boy's body's foundation is at 10th rank. Grandmaster extinguished Su Luo's delusions without any qualm. He is not like you, setting one's heart on cultivating elemental laws with a body as soft as an egg, one tap and it would break. Hiccup. Su Luo stuck out her tongue. Now she'd hand over her body's strengthening to Master, simply as going 1,000 miles in a day, amazing rapid development. Su Luo even rejoiced that she didn't waste her time on cultivating her body's foundation. Grandmaster Rong Yun poked her forehead in displeasure. "You are really lucky. This master just happens to have the materials for burning blood medicine. Otherwise, see what you would do. In any case, master is omnipotent, can do anything." Su Luo held Grandmaster Rong Yun's arm and rubbed against it like a little puppy. This girl, continuing to act spoiled will be useless." Grandmaster Rong Yun's sleeve waved over. In an instant, Su Luo's eyes blurred. When she opened her eyes again, she discovered a huge change in her surroundings. Su Luo was very familiar with this scene. Clearly, this was the place she was beaten up by Luo Haoming yesterday. Now Luo Haoming stood in front of Su Luo with a sinister expression. His gaze was full of ruthlessness, ready to fight at any moment. Su Luo suddenly felt helpless. She was already beaten up once. Su Luo's was very clear about Luo Haoming's fist-fighting abilities. Not waiting for Luo Haoming to rush up, Su Luo turned and immediately ran away. "Loathsome girl, see where you can run to this time." Luo Haoming shouted in a stern voice behind her and pursued closely. No way, right? This Luo Haoming actually had yesterday's memories? Shouldn't he be a fake figure that was conjured up? While Su Luo cursed in her heart, she also wiped away at her sweat. Only a fool would obediently stay there to be beaten up by you. Strength is not enough, everything else fails, then retreat. Didn't your grandpa teach you this? But it was the same as yesterday, whether it was strength or speed. Luo Haoming far exceeded Su Luo's. Not long after, Su Luo was forced to enter his range of attack. Freezing Ice Palm Strike. Both of Luo Haoming's hands formed seals, a transparent ball of light forming from his 2 palms. The ball of light, in an instant, swelled with a formidable power, exploding out with cold light of ice and snow that made people suffocate. Luo Haoming shouted loudly, and the freezing ice palm strike immediately whizzed towards Su Luo's back. Its speed was fast as lightning, not giving her enough time to react. Chapter 1575. Master Instructs 10. Outside of nothingness of space, Grandmaster Rong Yun's brows were wrinkled slightly. Luo Haoming exploded out with 70% of his strength at first meeting. Although Su Luo's body had gotten a little stronger, but Grandmaster Rong Yun's eyes half-narrowed dangerously, unblinkingly watching the changes in his nothingness of space. The freezing ice palm strike was already sent out. There was no reason it wouldn't land. Bang! The very fierce freezing ice palm directly hit Su Luo's shoulder. Fuck! Su Luo only had the time to say this. Soon after, a mouthful of blood burst out wildly. PFF fresh blood sprayed out like a mist ahead. Within a range of 30 meters, it was covered with bloodstains. Cough, cough, cough. Su Luo was choked by her blood and coughed up a floor full of blood. She almost stopped breathing. Just now Luo Haoming's freezing ice palm strike almost smashed her back into mush. Fortunately, her foundation was strengthened and had a little bit of defense. Otherwise now, Su Luo would turn into a pool of mud. Eat another one of my freezing ice palm strike. Luo Haoming leaped up and hacked down another freezing ice palm strike from above. Damn. Still coming. Su Luo was so angry that her eyes had become bloodshot. If she had enough strength, she was itching to split Luo Haoming in two. Just at this critical moment, a snowy sword suddenly flew from Su Luo's body. Qingying sword. Su Luo's heart rejoiced, the tension in her heart loosening a bit. Remembering yesterday's battle where she couldn't use anything in nothingness of space, and she couldn't summon Qingying's sword, Su Luo almost lost all hope. But she never expected that this time. At the critical moment, Qingying's sword would fly out to protect her. Worthy of having her apply celestial spirit water daily to Qingying's sword. Qingying's sword soared to the sky and rushed towards freezing ice palm strike. There was a strong crash. Boom. The intense colliding sound came from above Su Luo. Momentarily, sparks flew everywhere, with cold air dissipating everywhere too. Su Luo reacted very quickly. Just when Qingying's sword flew up, she rolled on the ground and had already rolled far away. It's not because Su Luo had no destination. When she fell, it just so happened to land behind Luo Haoming's back. Don't know when a dagger appeared in Su Luo's hand. Swoosh. Su Luo stood at Luo Haoming's back, almost skin to skin with him. Before Luo Haoming could react, the dagger had already entered Luo Haoming's hips. Because when Su Luo used her nothingness of space to envelop Luo Haoming, she used all of her strength to control Luo Haoming's speed. Although it was a short fleeting split second, but for Su Luo, she could do a lot of things in this little bit of time. The dagger entered without the slightest warning and buried deep in his flesh. Luo Haoming's defense was very strong. His neck had the strongest defense, so last time Su Luo wasn't able to stab in. But this time Su Luo learned to be smart. Su Luo didn't stab his neck and directly stabbed his hips. Because for many people, the hips was also a weak spot. When cultivating the body, it was very hard to increase the defense when cultivating the hips. Su Luo was merely trying her luck, didn't expect to really let her find his weak spot by blind luck. The dagger entered deeply, leaving behind only the hilt outside. The hips ached dully. Luo Haoming lowered his head and saw blood rush out like spring water. His body went rigid. He slowly turned around and saw Su Luo not far from him. His expression was full of disbelief and looked sluggish. An ant-like loathsome girl from his point of view actually had the strength to wound him? Su Luo quickly retreated, retreating outside Luo Haoming's attack range. Chapter 1576, Master Instructs 11. She extended out her hand, seeing her white, slender jade-like finger on the right hand. First, she seemed stunned. Then she laughed out loud. Luo Haoming, isn't your strength very strong? Aren't you at the summit of 10th rank? Aren't you the champion of the last roaming dragon list competition? Looks like you also collapse at the first blow. Su Luo's mouth hooked up into a complacent smile. Loathsome girl, courting death. Luo Haoming was so angry that his hair was about to stand up straight. If he was stabbed by a strong expert, then forget it. But being hurt by such a little weak loathsome girl, how could Luo Haoming swallow this? If you must know, this imitation Luo Haoming not only could imitate his strength and fighting style, but his character and temperament were exactly the same as the real Luo Haoming. Luo Haoming's hand extended to draw out his dagger. His body was like a cheetah as he surged up violently to pursue and attack. Su Luo used this dagger to wound him. Now, only by using the same dagger to kill Su Luo would he be able to wash away the humiliation of being wounded by such a weak person. Therefore Luo Haoming's right hand held a bloody dagger. Ignoring the blood flowing out of the wound on his hip, he single-mindedly pursued behind Su Luo, wishing to stab Su Luo to death with one strike. Seeing Luo Haoming chase over, Su Luo turned and ran away. She ran faster than a rabbit. If she didn't run right now, then she would be an idiot. Luo Haoming was already seriously hurt, with blood flowing rapidly from the hips. With the passing of time, he would lose more and more blood. Thus, his strength would progressively decline. This would be the perfect opportunity for Su Luo. Currently, she was unable to beat Luo Haoming. It was now the time to disappear and prolong the time. Wait for Luo Haoming's strength to be lowered to the 9th rank, then Su Luo would have absolute certainty in killing Luo Haoming. Because she had the magical ability of nothingness of space that defied nature, Su Luo would be unrivaled in the same level. Because she could completely envelop the opponent of the same rank using nothingness of space and forcefully reduce the opponent's speed, then to hit and kill her target. But nothingness of space almost had no effect on strong experts at a higher level. This was also the reason why Su Luo was chased to run by Luo Haoming. At this moment, Su Luo focused all her strength on her legs. Her speed was as fast as the speed of light. Her spirit dance steps was used to its limit, one after another, after images flashed by in the air. Loathsome girl, you run pretty fast. Luo Haoming waved the dagger and yelled fiercely repeatedly while chasing her. Don't run fast, then wait for you to grab me? Su Luo coldly snorted. Even if you run faster, it will be useless. Everything is already finished. Luo Haoming suddenly bit his teeth. All of a sudden, a white light flashed on his body, giving off an unlimited brilliance as if he was bathed in the intense sunlight. It made people watching unable to move their eyes away. Soon after, an extremely large spirit force came from Luo Haoming's body. His strength almost doubled from before. Su Luo was running up ahead when suddenly, her feet froze, and a bad premonition floated up in her heart. What was this Luo Haoming doing? How was it that she felt as if his strength had greatly increased? Loathsome girl, based on your insignificant strength of a 9th rank, to force me to use the secret method to increase strength, you can already be considered pretty good. You should feel very honored and go die. Luo Haoming's sinister voice seemed to resound by Su Luo's ear. Su Luo could almost feel the warm air coming from Luo Haoming's nose. If Su Luo turned back to look, she would see that Luo Haoming's feet were like lightning, so fast as to daze people's eyes. In a lightning-fast second, his figure had already arrived at Su Luo's back. Luo Haoming lifted the dagger up high. Swoosh! The dagger, without any resistance, accurately directly entered Su Luo's back. Chapter 1577, Master Instructs 12. An intense pain came from Su Luo's mind. In the wake of this pain, Su Luo's figure flapped forward and directly fell down. She sank into a swamp-like darkness. Outside of nothingness of space, Grandmaster Rong Yin slowly sighed. His expression was changeable. He lifted his hand and the Yanhua dagger covered with blood appeared in his large palm. Yanhua dagger was originally covered with blood, but in a split second, this dagger had swallowed all the blood. The mysterious iron was very clean, similar to a peeled egg, sparkling and translucent, burning with a white light. You have also been sealed. Grandmaster Rong Yin seemed absent-minded, his finger stroking the dagger. But the dagger didn't react at all. Grandmaster Rong Yin smiled, putting away the dagger. His hand waved, and Su Luo, who was in nothingness of space, returned to the real world. Master! Su Luo's voice was extremely weak, like a newborn kitten. After Grandmaster Rong Yin fed Su Luo the exact same medicinal pill as yesterday, Su Luo discovered that the painful wound earlier that almost took her life was healing at a speed the naked eye could see. Originally, the meridians that were cut, she could clearly feel them continuously being fixed. Could this medicinal pill be more miraculous? Su Luo blinked her eyes and swallowed. Originally, she thought rebirth of flesh pill was already miraculous, but she never expected that Master's strong medicinal pill that he took out made the rebirth of flesh pill seem weak. Su Luo really couldn't put it in her eyes again. Wait until you get promoted to emperor rank, you can also refine it. Grandmaster Rong Yin said faintly. Emperor rank? Su Luo swallowed her saliva. Now, she wasn't even a master-ranked apothecary. To say emperor rank? She didn't even have the time to dream of it. This time's fight, how do you feel? Grandmaster Rong Yin asked mildly. Now, after swallowing the pill, Su Luo's wound had already formed a scab. Although it was somewhat itchy, but it didn't hurt. Su Luo scratched the back of her head, her voice carrying a bit of hesitation. Strength to resist seems to be a bit stronger. If it was yesterday Luo Haoming, this dagger strike would have taken my life. Grandmaster Rongyun nodded and also shook his head. Still too lacking. Okay. Su Luo was speechless. Her starting point was too low. Her body's foundation started at the 2nd rank. In 1 day's time, it leaped up to 4th rank, something others could only achieve after several years. But for her, she only needed 1 day's time. Master still looked down on it. Master's requirements were really harsh. Go to the medicine refining room. Grandmaster Rongyun waved his hand to drive Su Luo away. Go to the medicine refining room. Could it be the matter yesterday would be repeated again? Su Luo, with her head full of suspicions, arrived at the medicine refining room with quick steps. At one glance, Su Luo saw that tall barrel of burning blood medicine, and also the clean medicinal cauldron. Recalling last night's unforgettable pain, cold sweat started to emerge from Su Luo's forehead. Although before, in 1 night's time, her body could become strong. Other people needed to cultivate for many years, but with regards to her, it was merely a night's time. But that bone-chilling pain that tore through the heart. A hesitant expression appeared in Su Luo's eyes. But Su Luo recalled Nangong Luoyun, who continuously sustained injuries in order to protect her. She recalled Luo Haoming, who could kill her with a lift of his hand. Recalled the responsibility she had on her shoulders. Su Luo bit her teeth and firmly walked to the side of the medicinal cauldron. After taking off her clothes, Su Luo sat inside the medicinal cauldron and took the burning blood medicine on the side and slowly smeared it on her body, as if she was smearing on a facial mask. Very quickly, Su Luo became a thoroughly bloody person. Like last night, burst after burst of dizzy feeling attacked her. Chapter 1578, Master Instructs 13. Su Luo was between muddle-headedness and sleep when the pain unexpectedly arrived. Painful. Really painful. Su Luo almost felt as if her skin was being torn apart, inch by inch, then slowly reassembled. This kind of pain simply made Su Luo want to bolt. Almost made her take out celestial spirit water to wash all the burning blood medicine clean off. But as long as she thought of Nangong Luoyun, thought of his pair of eyes that had expectation and joy when he knew her strength, Su Luo just bit her teeth and pressed on. Compared to the acute pain right now, last night's pain was like being bitten by mosquitoes, easy for her to disregard. All the tendons and muscles in Su Luo's body were being contorted, twitching, every one of them was good. The sweat on Su Luo's forehead was like rain, flowing down like dripping water. Her eyes were bloodshot and exploded out in a fury. Both hands grabbed the side of the medicinal cauldron, her 10 fingers inserted in deeply. Her sweat mixed with tears and also the juice from the burning blood medicine, as it seeped into the middle of the medicinal cauldron. The night was unprecedentedly long. So endlessly long that it almost made a person go crazy. Countless times, Su Luo wanted to knock herself out. Only after passing out would she then not feel the pain. But with one sentence from Grandmaster Rongyun, she abandoned this thought. The consequence of fainting would decrease the result by a lot. Grandmaster Rongyun's words sounded by Su Luo's ear. God damn it. Su Luo cursed, but because of her contorting and twitching, she bit her lips again. Su Luo's lower lip had already broken from being bitten, like badly mangled meat, the blood dripping down in a steady flow. So painful. The pain reached the pinnacle, but she still needed to remain clear-headed. This was simply maltreatment. And Su Luo still voluntarily, willingly, spontaneously accepted this maltreatment. Her determination to become strong supported her willpower. Because Su Luo knew, Master gave her the burning blood medicine to strengthen her body. This was sufficient to demonstrate many problems. The biggest problem was that inside the secret roaming dragon territory was very dangerous. Even Master felt that if she went in, she would die 9 times out of 10. Only because of this he chose to use such a nature-defying method to make her become stronger. The secret roaming dragon territory was so dangerous that Su Luo didn't want to become Nangong Luoyun's burden. She didn't want him to be injured again because he was protecting her. She wanted to stand shoulder to shoulder with him, to welcome the enemy together, and not to be protected very well behind his back. For this goal, no matter how much bitterness she had to eat, and the pain, Su Luo still felt it was worth it. The painful and hoarse voice gradually transmitted out from inside the medicinal cauldron. Su Luo firmly bit her lips, not allowing herself to yell out loud, because this wasted too much energy. Now Su Luo sat cross-legged inside the medicinal cauldron. Her spirit and concentration had increased by a lot. Very quickly, she entered the altruistic state of cultivation. Although it still hurt until her body twitched, but at least this diverted her attention. Unconsciously, dawn broke up. The white colors of dawn gradually appeared in the east. Having endured the entire night, Su Luo's body gave a burst of violent shuddering. Afterwards, she slowly slid down the wall of the medicinal cauldron as she sank into a deep sleep. Don't know how long she slept. Su Luo was swayed by the sunlight that was harsh on the eyes. When she opened her eyes, the floor inside the room was full of sunlight. It gave a really warm feeling. The corner of Su Luo's mouth slowly hooked into a smile. When Su Luo realized, she started to examine her own body. What's strange was that every one of her 8 veins felt as if they had been sorted out. Su Luo discovered that compared to before, her veins had already clearly expanded and grown tougher. After testing her body once, Su Luo discovered that her body had clearly become stronger. After putting on the appropriate clothing, Su Luo ran out like a wisp of smoke. Her footsteps were live and her breathing was even. Master! Su Luo stood in front of Grandmaster Rong Yun in high spirits. Chapter 1579, Master Instructs 14. Although she got through a whole night of pain, it was so painful that she had the thought of drawing out a sword to commit suicide. But fortunately, she was able to persevere. Her right now looked radiant, as if the pain from last night never happened. Come in. Grandmaster Rong Yun waved his hand. Su Luo didn't have the time to react before her eyes blurred. When she opened her eyes again, God, it was Luo Haoming, this guy again. In any case, since she couldn't outrun him, Su Luo decided to directly attack. Luo Haoming coldly laughed many times, and suddenly rushed up. After going through a series of battles, although Su Luo still lost, at least this time, she lasted a full stick of incense's time. Compared to before, it was a lot better. As a result, Su Luo started to live in Grandmaster Rong Yun's place. During the day, she would battle Luo Haoming. At night, she would use burning blood medicine to strengthen her body. Although every night, it was terribly painful. However, in the morning when she woke up, Su Luo once again became invigorated and as fierce as dragons or tigers. Moreover, her strength progressed very quickly. Every day, she was stronger than the day before. The first time she fought with Luo Haoming, she was directly kicked down, suffering a crushing defeat. The second time, she persevered for a cup of tea's time. The third time she lasted a stick of incense's time. The fourth time she lasted a quarter of an hour. The fifth time she lasted half an hour. Until the 9th time, Su Luo's body's foundation had finally reached the 9th rank. It reached the same strength as her elemental law cultivation. This time, Su Luo's defensive strength was a lot stronger. She could already block Luo Haoming's full-on attack at the 10th rank without spitting out a mouthful of blood. Master, should I still continue? Although Su Luo was very interested in this method of quickly advancing her strength, even though it was extremely painful, but if she bit her teeth, she could endure it and it'd pass. Grandmaster Rong Yun slanted her a gaze in displeasure. Still didn't have enough of the pain? Su Luo nodded, still good. Just 9 days' time, she had caught up with Bei Chen Ying and them, who had cultivated for more than 10 years. Even if it was more painful, she would still bite her teeth and endure. Su Luo knew, after leaving Master, there wouldn't be such a shortcut she could use. A pity there isn't any more burning blood medicine. Grandmaster Rong Yun spread out his hands and shook his head carelessly. No more. A trace of regret flashed through Su Luo's eyes. How was it that there wasn't any more of the stuff? She still wanted to strengthen her body to the 10th rank. That way, she wouldn't be afraid of Luo Haoming's type at the 10th rank, because then, their attack would be completely useless against her. But at such a critical point, Master actually said there wasn't any more burning blood medicine? You, this rotten child, really think that the materials for burning blood medicine are staple goods that can be found everywhere? Grandmaster Rong Yun poked Su Luo in the forehead. Do you know the burning blood medicine you bathed in? As long as you take a drop of it to place in the auction house in this world. Grandmaster Rong Yun simply couldn't continue. How much money can it sell for? Su Luo's eyes flashed with light. Best not to say. Grandmaster Rong Yun waved his hand. Quickly return, quickly return. If you don't return soon, that stinky boy would become stoned from wanting to marry you as wife. Huh. Su Luo was suddenly alarmed. Immediately after, she quickly flew out. Su Luo recalled that when she came over, she didn't leave any words for Nangong Luoyun, and was forced by Master to stay here to strengthen her body. This period, she asked Master to send words to Nangong Luoyun, but based on Master's temper, oh boy. Su Luo's figure had just came out of the courtyard when she saw Nangong Luoyun's figure. At this time he wore a black robe, both hands crossed over his chest, indifferently leaning against the corner of the wall. He faintly smiled at her, beautiful like an evildoer. Chapter 1580, Master Instructs 15. Why did you come? Su Luo stood in front of him, touching his pure white jade-like face. Several days she hadn't seen him, he seemed to be thinner. Nangong Luoyun gripped her hand that was wandering on his face, placed it at the corner of his lips and tenderly kissed it. A silky and numbing feeling came from the back of her hand, and a trace of blush appeared on Su Luo's face. She voluntarily started to explain. These several days, Master helped me to strengthen my body, so I didn't return. I told Master to send word to you. I know. Nangong Luoyun's words were soft and gentle, carrying a trace of a smile. His long finger flicked Su Luo's forehead. Worthy of being Grandmaster Rong Yun, when he undertakes a task, it would alarm heaven and earth while making supernatural beings cry. You know about burning blood medicine? A trace of suspicion flashed through Su Luo's eyes. She, as an apothecary, hadn't even heard of it. Actually really is burning blood medicine. Nangong Luoyun lowered his devilishly charming eyes. His low tone carried a trace of enticing sexiness. Have you ever heard of it? Never. Su Luo seriously shook her head. It's no wonder you have never heard of it. It was rumored that burning blood medicine could change a person's fate by defying the laws of nature. It could strengthen a person's body in an instant, raising the body's rank. Looks like the rumors were not false. Nangong Luoyun could sense the surge in strength coming from Su Luo's body. The Su Luo right now, there wasn't that big of a gap with his body's foundation. But he had such an accomplishment, it was achieved after cultivating for more than 10 years. But Luo girl only used a short 9 days. Thinking up to here, even the normally calm Nangong Luoyun couldn't help but wring his hands. Having an emperor-ranked apothecary really was a thing of blessing. The two people chatted while they walked. Very quickly, they returned to Southern Mountain. At this time, Bei Chening and Ziyan were swapping pointers. In the end, Bei Chening sent Ziyan flying with one palm strike. A girl's stamina is too weak, able to cultivate to 9th rank is already difficult, so you don't need to look at me with such resentment. Bei Chening, with arms crossed over his chest and dragging his words, cast a glance at Ziyan who was spitting with rage. Bei Chening, you are tough. Humph, humph. I may not be able to beat you, but Luo Luo can beat you. You just wait and see. Ziyan walked several steps, and turned her head to warn Bei Chening. Luo Luo is cultivating at Grandmaster Rong Yun's place. How could she come back so quickly? Afraid you're waiting and the opportunity won't come. Bei Chening laughed. There will be plenty of opportunities in the future. Ziyan, unconvinced, snorted in anger. Even if Luo Luo came, she couldn't change the reality, based on the body's strength. How could a woman's physical strength be stronger than a man's? Even if second brother is here, I'd still say this. Bei Chening patted his chest, showing that he had no fear. Ziyan, in a rage, was just about to retort. Suddenly, she saw behind Bei Chening the two people coming over hand in hand. Her eyes flickered with light like the stars in the sky, very dazzling. Bei Chening, what did you just say? You said even if Luo Luo came, she still couldn't beat you? The corner of Ziyan's mouth hooked into a mocking smile. Ziyan's gaze made all the hairs on his body stand on ends. But Bei Chening still was very much a manly man, lifting up his chest with a deadly earnest expression to say, "Just based on the strength of the body, Luo Luo simply can't be compared to me." "Really?" A frosty tone came from Bei Chenying's back. This tone gave off a coldness as if it came from the underworld, making people's hair stand erect. If it wasn't Nangong Liuyun's tone, who else could it be? Bei Chenying's body suddenly became rigid, like a popsicle, standing there motionless. His luck couldn't be this bad, right? Second brother actually heard it? Bei Chenying's rigid body turned around. When he saw the people, his mouth smiled bitterly. Chapter 1581, Master Instructs 16. Now he was in for it. Not only was Nangong Luyun present, even Luo Luo, who they hadn't seen for many days, was here too. Right now, she was enjoying herself in Nangong Liuyun's embrace. While fiddling with her pigtails, she smilingly looked at him. Bei Chening felt his back go cold. Cold sweat directly flowed down from his forehead. Ziyan sympathetically patted Bei Chenying's shoulder. "You're on your own. You, this ruthless girl, caused a lot of trouble for him, ah?" She did it deliberately. Bei Chening glared very fiercely at Ziyan. Ziyan was all smiles as she welcomed his gaze. Her mouth moved silently. This great aunt did it on purpose, so what? Bei Chening, in a depressed manner, grabbed his hair. He simply couldn't do anything about Ziyan. This girl followed by Luo Luo's side. And she was also infected with a whole brainful of craftiness. Like a cunning little fox smoothly slipping away. Su Luo looked at Bei Chening with a ghost of a smile, as she unhurriedly said, "Little Shadow, what did you just say? It seems I didn't hear it clearly." "No, nothing." Bei Chening forced out several laughs. It was as if the soles of his feet was oiled as he was just about to run. But his figure had just moved when a golden vine shot out. It wrapped around Bei Chenying's waist and dragged him to in front of Su Luo. Su Luo started to remind him. "Just based on the body's strength, mine can't be compared to yours. These are the words you said, right?" Faced with Su Lu's slyly smiling expression, Bei Chening simply wanted to cry. How could he not know Luo Luo's meaning? Her hands were itchy and wanted to use him as a practice partner. But the problem was that he simply couldn't fight with her, Although based on the strength of the body, Bei Chening was confident he could beat Su Luo. But with Nangong Luyun on the side glaring like a tiger watching his prey, Bei Chening simply didn't dare to fight. "Come." Su Luo flew to an empty space up ahead, beckoning towards Bei Chening. If it was before, Su Luo really couldn't compete with Bei Chening. But now, after 9 days of master using burning blood medicine to raise her from 2nd rank directly to the 9th rank, she went from a frail body that would fall at a blow of the wind, to directly to being able to withstand one blow from Luo Haoming using his full strength. With such progress, Su Luo was already itching to find a person to practice with. Her luck was just this good. She just had this thought and Bei Chening automatically delivered himself to her. "Sister-in-law, let's just forget it, okay?" Bei Chening stammered, his foot remaining motionless. He knew Su Luo body's strength, that simply couldn't be described using the word weak. He was afraid that in a moment of inattentiveness, the move he used would be too strong and injure her. At that time, wouldn't Nangong Luyun just skin him alive? "Come up." Su Luo's eyes were cold, the golden vine wrapped around Bei Chenying's waist, suddenly dragging him into the fighting circle. Seeing Su Luo sincerely wanted to fight, Bei Chening used his eyes to look at Nangong Luyun. Nangong Liuyun's expression was indifferent. The corner of his mouth had a smile that seemingly wasn't there. His pitch-black as ink eyes were like a clear spring in an ancient well without a single ripple, profoundly mysterious. No one could tell what he was thinking of. Bei Chening bit his teeth. "Sister-in-law, you really want to fight? Who wants to joke with you?" Su Luo raised an eyebrow in displeasure. "Then this time, let's come to an agreement. Only compete based on the body's strength. Can't use any weapons or spirit pets. Will you agree to this?" If Su Luo's trump cards were added, then there would be no need to compete. Bei Chening would directly admit defeat and let it pass. What this young lady wanted to compete with you this time really is just the body's strength. Based on the strength of her body, she could even block Luo Haoming's strike that alarmed the heavens. Why would she be afraid of Bei Chening? Therefore, the Su Luo right now was full of confidence. But since it's a competition, then how about adding some profits? Bei Qining seemed to have thought of something, his eyebrows lifting up and down. Chapter 1582. Triumph over him with one move 1. Oh, make a bet? Hearing this, Su Luo's eyes sparkled. Bei Qining, this doll, was simply too cute, okay? She hadn't said anything about betting. Yet he impatiently delivered himself for her to oppress, and even wanted to lose money in a bet? Where could she find such a good child? Su Luo's heart was extremely satisfied, but on the surface, she frowned slightly and somewhat reluctantly said, To bet? What do you want to bet on? If I win, the debt I owe you from previous bets are now even. Bei Qining passionately said. Before, Bei Qining lost a bet to Su Luo and owed her a condition. If Bei Qining hadn't mentioned this, Su Luo would have already long forgotten it. Okay. Su Luo's eyes were half narrowed, the slyness of a little fox flashing through her eyes. Then if you lose, Su Luo stroked her chin, half murmuring as her pitch-black as ink eyes whirled around. You want to choose truth or dare? Su Luo smiled very craftily. In Bei Qining's impression, this bet simply didn't need to compete. Su Luo would lose for sure. Therefore, what's the difference between truth or dare? Thinking up to here, Bei Qining boldly patted his chest, using righteous and upright words to say, What's so fun about truth? If we must play, then play dare. Nangong Luyun looked at Bei Qining that faced danger with a foolish brain, and speechlessly shook his head. He silently turned his face away. Su Luo was all smiles as she looked at Bei Qining, and confirmed once again. You are certain you want to play dare? I'm certain I won't lose. Bei Qining was full of self-confidence. It's not like he hadn't fought hand-to-hand combat with Su Luo. How could he not know her skills? That skill was so weak that it couldn't stand up to the wind. Since elemental laws couldn't be used, just relying on the body's strength, Bei Qining felt that with one fist from him, Su Luo would die. Since you are so self-confident, then fine. Su Luo calmly nodded, and hooked her finger at Bei Qining. Bei Qining's eyes flashed with curiosity as he eagerly ran over. #Yuan and amp. And amp %. Su Luo muttered several sentences by Bei Qining's ear. Bei Qining's complexion gradually became red. Afterwards, it was as red as a mature chili pepper. One could almost see steam coming out. How about it, dare to bet? Su Luo calmly asked, with arms crossed in front of her chest. Casting a sideways glance at him, and used the simplest indirect psychological approach to get him to do what she wanted. Don't need to say anything else. This indirect psychological approach was really useful against Bei Qining. Bet. Bei Qining clenched his fist and with upright words, and with a stiff handsome face said, In any case I won't lose. Okay. Su Luo was afraid Bei Qining would back out, and picked up the brush. With a few strokes, she finished writing out a contract. You take a look. Is there any place on this that is incorrect? If there isn't, then just sign your name. Must it be like this? Bei Qining's face had a in a difficult situation expression. Like a thief, his eyes furtively swept by Ziyan, afraid of exposing a trace of mistake. If you are afraid of losing, then. Su Luo hadn't finished speaking before Bei Qining hopped about indignantly. Who's afraid of losing? How can I, Bei Qining, lose? Impossible. Bei Qining was very confident. Then why don't you dare sign it? Hesitating. How could you resemble a man? Su Luo tossed him the brush that was dipped in ink, her eyebrows provocatively lifting up. With a ghost of a smile, she looked at Bei Qining. Sign, then just sign. Bei Qining bit his lower lips, hatefully glaring at Su Luo. Then he summoned his courage and, facing that paper, waved his brush. After he finished writing, he still didn't forget to approach Su Luo to exhort her with several sentences. You can't tell this matter to that girl. Otherwise, my skin will be peeled off. Chapter 1583. Triumph over him with one move 2. Didn't you say you couldn't lose? Su Luo unhurriedly blowed on the ink to dry it faster, then gracefully folded the paper and placed it into her space. I definitely won't lose, But I'm afraid of that girl finding out that we used her as the stake in the bed. Bei Qining lowered his voice furtively. The person that used her as a betting stake is you, young Master Beichen. It has nothing to do with me. Su Luo patted her hand. Are you ready? Bei Qining, full of self-confidence, made the hand gesture to please start. His gaze had a casual laid-back smile. Yep, come. Seeing Bei Qining's casual posture, the corner of Su Luo's lip slowly hooked into a faint smile. Little shadow. The consequences of being contemptuous towards women can be very serious. Just when Bei Qining made a casual attack posture, Su Luo's figure suddenly moved, quickly rushing towards Bei Qining. Like a legendary large bird that spread open its wings, carrying a trace of a violent wing speed. Bei Qining never expected Su Luo would actually attack. In his impression, the soles of Su Luo's feet ought to be oiled as she fled. That would be more correct. Just when Bei Qining was hesitating, Su Luo's fist arrived at this moment. Hearing that biting cold gale-like sound that came towards him, a trace of understanding came from Bei Qining's heart. No wonder this girl dared to provoke him. Looks like these days, she had strengthened her body by quite a bit at her master's place. Her speed was fast enough to create wind. However, how could a few days' cultivation be compared to his more than 10 years of cultivation? Therefore, although Bei Qining became a bit serious, he still didn't regard Su Luo's strength too highly. Watching as Su Luo's fist was about to hit his face, Bei Qining didn't dodge or avoid it. He extended his right fist and smashed towards Su Luo's fist. Bang, a strong collision. Bei Qining used 50% of his strength. Su Luo also used 50% of her strength. Bang bang bang. Bei Qining's footsteps continuously fell back. He only stopped after retreating for 7 steps. In contrast, after Su Luo made the strike, her body was like a sparrow as her body flipped over. The flip allowed her to jump onto the top of a Chinese parasol tree. She leisurely sat on the tree branch and watched. Her eyes had a smile, appreciating Bei Qining's difficult situation. Bei Qining stared at Su Luo in disbelief. How could it be like this? Although he only used 50% of his strength, but to deal with the Su Luo from before was enough and with strength to spare. But now he was almost sent flying by Su Luo's hit. This contrast was rather too large, right? How about it? Are you going to admit defeat or not? Su Luo's pair of slender legs swayed back and forth, brimming with smiles as she looked at Bei Qining. Come again. Bei Qining was extremely unreconciled. He was actually made to retreat by Su Luo's fist? This was impossible. Bei Qining rolled up his sleeves, his expression containing a trace of seriousness and dignity. He refused to be as sloppy and unconcerned as last time. Are you ready? Su Luo leisurely swayed her pair of beautiful and slender legs, as she asked with all smiles. Bei Qining gloomily waved towards Su Luo. Quickly come down. Okay. Su Luo's words hadn't faded when her figure shot towards Bei Qining like a hawk. This time, Su Luo flew towards Bei Qining from midair. Both pair of legs was fast as light, directly kicking towards Bei Qining's chest. Bei Qining's reaction was very fast. He placed both hands before him to block this kick. Su Luo used this opportunity to flip behind Bei Qining and hit his back with a fist. Bei Qining's back was hit by the fist, and suddenly, a numbing pain spread through his whole body. The pain felt as if his body had broken into pieces of meat. Su Luo's strength had become this strong? Bei Qining turned his head back, the blood and qi in his throat rolling over. He looked at Su Luo in disbelief. He never imagined that Su Luo, having nothing to rely on but using just her strength, could win against him. Chapter 1584. Triumph over him with one move 3. How about it? Are you going to concede or not? Su Luo proudly waved her little fist as if wishing to continue. She smiled and raised an eyebrow. Won't concede, come again. Bei Qining's figure was like a cheetah as he rushed towards her. Su Luo only pursed her lips into a smile. Good. Don't want to concede, right? Then I'll let you experience how awesome this lady is. Bei Qining, in a flash, appeared in front of Su Luo. A fist that would rend the heavens ruthlessly smashed towards Su Luo. But this time, Su Luo actually didn't dodge or avoid it. Bang! A harsh and violently strong fist smashed onto Su Luo's shoulder. A world-shaking strength exploded out. Momentarily, the entire world seemed to have stopped. Bei Qinying's entire person was stupefied. He originally thought Su Luo would smash her fist with his. He also knew how strong Su Luo's fist was. Therefore, this time, he used all his strength, prepared to finish this with one last hit with Su Luo. But what made him fall apart was that Su Luo actually didn't defend nor dodge, just directly stood there stiffly to resist this hit. Now Su Luo stood there like a wooden stick, motionless. Bei Qinying was scared until his soul flew away. He simply didn't dare move Su Luo. Because he was afraid, once he moved her, her body would disintegrate. Just at this moment, Su Luo slowly lifted up her head. A dazzling sakura-like smile unfolded on her peerlessly beautiful face. Little Shadow, just now was that your strongest hit? Su Luo's tone had a smile in it, and was light as a feather. That's right. Bei Qinying replied truthfully, then weakly asked Su Luo, You are okay? Just now that fist, if it was himself that was hit, then he would be very badly off. The worry in Bei Qinying's eyes became increasingly strong. Want to try it? Su Luo smilingly looked at him. Just now, she deliberately didn't dodge, because she wanted knew to what degree her body's ability to resist a strike had reached. Through the test just now, Su Luo was very satisfied with this result. But she still hadn't tested the full force of her fist. Therefore, Bei Qinying, this child, could only be her sparring partner for now. You are actually fine? Bei Qinying's tone carried a trace of trembling. He used a seeing a ghost expression to stare at Su Luo. This was simply impossible. That fist, even he couldn't endure it. How could Su Luo withstand it? Moreover, looking at her appearance, it didn't seem as if she was injured. Just when Bei Qinying was shocked, Su Luo waved her little fist. Her gaze was half narrowed dangerously. Little Shadow, are you prepared? Receive this move. Finished speaking, Su Luo's sparkling jade-like fist seemed to carry the strength to destroy the heavens and wipe out the earth. It was like 10,000 stampeding horses, a huge wave that overflowed to the heavens, swirling up thousands of piles of snow violently. Oh my god, ah! Bei Qinying felt that surgingly strong powerful strength, and the soles of his feet seemed to be brushed with oil as he wanted to run. But before he could turn around, he saw that Su Luo's fist had already arrived at his chest. Bang! The fist heavily smashed onto Bei Qinying's chest. Afterwards, Bei Qinying was like a balloon that flew up to mid-air. He streaked out in a beautiful parabola curve. In the end, he descended in a straight line with a pow loud sound. Bei Qinying fell to the ground and couldn't get up, continuously spitting out blood. Cough, cough, cough. Bei Qinying struggled several times before getting up with great difficulty. He looked at Su Luo, full of disbelief, and seemed to find it unimaginable. Able to seriously injure him to this degree with one fist. Su Luo's strength and her body's strength was simply in the same grade as Luo Haoming. In the end, what's going on? Clearly before, when he was competing with her on the fighting stage, she was so weak that she couldn't even stand up to the wind. Chapter 1585. Triumph over him with one move. 4. Cough, cough, cough. Could it be that you ate a miracle medicine or elixir? Bei Qinying covered his chest with his hand and walked to in front of Su Luo unsteadily. How about it? Are you convinced or not? Su Luo smilingly happily as she tossed him a healing pill. Master gave her a whole bottle, and now Bei Qinying was injured by her, so Su Luo wasn't a bit stingy and gave him an emperor-level medicinal pill. Convinced, really convinced. That's right, this is? Looking at that colorful plump medicinal pill that seemed about to burst into the sky, Bei Qinying's gaze flicked with light. Seemed to be crying, laughing, and also pleasantly surprised. Emperor-level spirit pill. Su Luo carelessly replied. Emperor level? Sure enough, it's emperor level. Bei Qinying's hand that clasped the spirit pill trembled nonstop, as if it was convulsing. Why are you convulsing? Do you need to be excited to this extent? Su Luo was puzzled. Big sister. This is emperor level spirit pill, ah. You actually just in passing gave it to me? Bei Qinying nearly kneeled towards Su Luo. Su Luo blinked her eyes, looking at Bei Qining doubtfully. If you don't want it then, how could I not want it? Afraid that Su Luo would ask for the spirit pill back, Bei Qining opened his mouth and took a bite out of the spirit pill. 3 black lines appeared on Su Luo's forehead. Bei Qining, this fool. Did he think this was like playing house when they were young? This spirit pill is mine, you can't snatch it away. Bei Qining had a death grip on the spirit pill, afraid Su Luo would snatch it. He had an expression that it was a treasured object. Su Luo helplessly shook her head. Since I already gave it to you, how could there be a justification to ask for it back? You should quickly swallow it, your injuries are not light. In Su Luo's eyes, this was merely a medicinal pill that had really good result in healing injuries. Therefore, she didn't mind giving it out. But Su Luo didn't know that an emperor-level spirit pill almost didn't exist in this world. Every one of the pill was incomparably precious. It's better that I save it. If I get injured in the future, maybe it could save my life. Bei Qining carefully looked at the emperor-level spirit pill with a devout expression. Su Luo unhappily took out the jade bottle master gave her and waved it in front of Bei Qining. I have so many, there are more in the future. Quickly swallow this one. If it's not treated and left behind residual effects, it would be bad. Su Luo knew the effect of this spirit pill. The healing injury speed was very fast. You could immediately see the results. Even though Su Luo's body contained scarlet blood Ningpo figwort, the kind of spirit medicine that defied nature, but its healing speed wasn't as fast as this spirit pill. If she relied on the scarlet blood Ningpo figwort, at minimum, it would take a day and night before her body's functions were completely restored. But the emperor-level spirit pill's medicinal effect could very quickly restore everything completely. Now Bei Qining was shocked stupid by Su Luo's bottle that was full of the spirit medicine. All of these are. Bei Qining swallowed his saliva with difficulty. He discovered he had already become a person who stuttered. Born into one of the 10 great families, moreover. In Beiqin Palace whose power was towards the front. What kind of treasure hadn't Bei Qining seen? That pair of eyes had seen everything in the world. But compared to Su Luo's great show of wealth, Bei Qining felt that the first half of his life was spent no better than a dog. Even his grandfather, a emperor-level spirit medicine wasn't something he wanted to take out and could take out. Now Su Luo actually, in passing, tossed him one. This was fine, but immediately after, she took out a whole bottle. A full bottle of emperor-level spirit medicine was waved in front of his eyes. It dazzled his eyes. Okay? Where did you get these? Could it be stolen? But where could you steal it from? Chapter 1586. Triumph over him with one move. 5. My master gave it to me. Su Luo casually told him the answer. At this moment, Bei Qining almost cried from envy, jealousy and regret. Look at what her master did. He didn't just give one emperor-level medicinal pill, but gave a bottle. Even an expert at the summit like his grandfather would envy until he cried. Okay? That's right. Your body suddenly becoming so strong. Could it also be because of your master? Bei Qining weakly asked. And you have a problem? Su Luo sat down on the chair at the side. How was this upgraded? Bei Qining swallowed the emperor-level medicinal pill, and did not wait for the drug to become effective before he hurriedly sat down by Su Luo's side and eagerly asked. 9 days. Only a mere short 9 days' time, and the strength in Su Luo's body completely exceeded his that he had cultivated for more than 10 years. Bei Qinying's eyes flashed like the stars, trying to duplicate Su Luo's cultivation methods. As for this, Su Luo muttered half to herself and felt there wasn't anything that needed to be concealed, so she told him the matter. Bathed in burning blood medicine for 9 days, I almost died from the pain. Able to return alive to see you guys. That's because my willpower was strong enough. Pop! The armrest on Bei Qinying's chair was crushed into pieces. Ziyan's mouth was slightly opened, looking at Su Luo in a daze. A trace of a peculiar expression flashed through Nangong Liuyan's eyes, but very quickly he smiled. What? Bei Qining dug at his ear with strength. Burning blood medicine? Is there a problem? Su Luo said in puzzlement. Before, when she explained to Nangong Liuyan, his reaction wasn't this big. Used to bathe in. Bei Qinying's eyes were opened wide into the shape of a copper bell, staring fixedly at Su Luo. This, may I ask? Where is the problem? Su Luo's thick curly eyelashes lowered. A pair of clear eyes blinking. In its depths was a at-a-loss expression. She didn't understand why Bei Qinying was so excited, as if he was about to swallow her up in one mouthful. Ziyin was also trembling from head to toe, as if she had seen a ghost. Her mouth was opened wide, as if she wanted to speak but nothing came out appearance. What's wrong with everyone? Hissed Bei Qinying, and Ziyin ferociously sucked in a cold breath of air. A mouthful of pure cold air sucked into their lungs. Only then did they realize that just now, because of disbelief, they didn't breathe for so long. What's wrong? Su Luo innocently blinked her eyes. She didn't seem to have done anything outrageous, right? Your master, is he still receiving disciples? Ziyin weakly asked. Your master. Does he want to accept a person that does odd jobs? Bei Qinying excitedly pulled at Su Luo's sleeves. Hiccup, Su Luo looked at them weakly. Even sweeping the floor is fine, will he accept? Bei Qinying's pair of ink-like eyes flickered with light. Su Luo's face was full of sympathy as she patted his shoulder. Youngster, based on your aptitude, I'm afraid. The little young master from the first wife of the Grand Beichen family actually wanted to go sweep the floor for master? This joke was too outrageous. Burning blood medicine, ah. Bei Qinying looked to the sky and gave a deep sigh. Actually used it to bathe in awe. Ziyin covered her heart. Soon after, both of them used an indignation that came from the heart to very fiercely glare at Su Luo and said in unison, to squander things is really shameful, ah. Hiccup. Su Luo scratched at her head. When did these two children's tacit understanding become so synchronized? They even said the same words in unison. Is this burning blood medicine really amazing? Really hard to come by? Su Luo finally heard a bit of the clues. Really amazing? Really hard to come by? Bei Qinying glared at Su Luo, his eyes almost seeming to shoot out light. Chapter 1587. Triumph over him with one move. 6. Too much ah, simply too much ah. What was called having gotten an advantage and still flaunting it? Everyone, come over and have a look at Su Luo ah. Bei Qinying's heart practically shouted this out. It doesn't seem to be that hard to come by ah. Su Luo muttered. Master over there held it in wooden barrels. If it was so hard to come by, wouldn't it be held in a little jade bottle? It's not hard to come by? Bei Qinying was so envious he almost cried. Sister-in-law, in the end, do you know what stuff is in the burning blood medicine ah? If Nangong Luyan wasn't like a mountain, standing there and giving off ample deterrence force, Bei Qinying would have lifted up Su Luo and shaken her from being excited. Seems to be blood? Su Luo remembered that bloody smell really stung her nose. She almost threw up from smelling it. That was refined from dragon marrow and phoenix blood. Also 10th ranked magical beasts essential blood ah. It is said that only an emperor-ranked apothecary can refine it. Bei Qinying was so excited his face turned red. You must know there is only a bit of essential blood from one magical beast ah. Hearing this, Su Luo opened her eyes wide. Is what you just said true? If it was really like what Bei Qinying said, then this big gift by master was really too expensive ah. But Su Luo thought about it, and felt it should be correct. There was no free lunch in this world. Since this was a shortcut that defied nature to quickly promote a person's strength, the methods must be full of danger on top of more danger, and extremely difficult. 10th-ranked magical beasts could be ignored, but dragon marrow and phoenix blood, these two ingredients weren't something an average person could get. Don't know where master found these previously rare ingredients. The most important thing was Mster really used wooden barrels to hold it. Su Luo really used it to bathe in ah. While bathing, she was wishing to run away. Now Su Luo remembered, her whole face was covered in sweat. Fortunately at that time she persevered. Otherwise, she would have greatly squandered master's meticulous care. Burning blood medicine used to bathe in? My god ah. Bei Qinying gracefully placed a hand on his forehead. Burning blood medicine is such a nature-defying medicine. A bottle with a tiny fingernail amount. Its value is equivalent to a purple crystal stone ah. Big sister, you actually used it to bathe in. Can you clearly count how many purple-colored crystals you had bathed away? Su Luo speechlessly scratched her head. That wooden barrel was calculated in kilograms. Moreover, it was 9 days in a row that she bathed every day. This cough, cough, cough. Su Luo recalled those purple crystal stones that she squandered could fill up a room. And suddenly, her whole person didn't feel good. Nangong Luyan, seeing Su Luo's face full of distress over the loss, his handsome face had a faint smile. He patted Su Luo on the shoulder, finding this very funny. If you want to sell, take one of the medicinal pills in your hand and sell it, it's the same. Now I don't lack crystal stones. Su Luo smilingly said. If it was before when she lacked crystal stones, when she raised a group of gluttons, money on hand was tight. Maybe she really would take the medicine master gave her to sell it. But previously, she had just won a lot of crystal stones, and it was estimated that her share was in the 100,000s number. So Su Luo wasn't worried at all about crystal stones. These were all the ones the 10 great families saved, but in one breath, was all won by Su Luo and them. Now everyone was tightening their waistband and drinking thin porridge. Only Su Luo and the several of them were rich. Su Luo lifted her eyes and saw Beichening staring at herself. She smilingly patted his head. If you had said earlier, I would really have saved you some. But now, I have used up all the burning blood medicine, otherwise, master wouldn't chase me back. Therefore Su Luo made a my hands are tied gesture. Alas! Beichening gave a long and deep sigh. Chapter 1588. Triumph over him with one move. 7. Having an emperor-ranked apothecary as a master really made people jealous, hate and admire. Little Shadow, you seem to have forgotten a matter. Looking at Beichening, who was immersed in his own world, and having a hard time getting out of it. Su Luo's mouth suddenly hooked up as if harboring evil intentions. What? Suddenly remembering something, Beichening's large pretty eyes twitches uncontrollably. Looks like you remembered. Then you won't need me to remind you. Go. Su Luo pushed Beichening towards Ziyan. That. Seeing Ziyan was almost within reach, steam came out from the tip of Beichening's ears. His face gradually turning red. What ghost are you guys setting up? Ziyan's suspicious gaze swept between the two people. Nothing. While Beichening retreated back, he made hand gestures towards Su Luo. Okay, first I'll let you off. Su Luo was all smiles as she had one leg crossed over the other. She didn't believe Beichening would be able to escape from this every time. You guys? Ziyan speechlessly looked at the two of them. If you are curious, then just go ask Beichen, he will certainly tell you. Su Luo's words aroused Ziyan's curious heart. Ziyan, seeing if she remained she would become a third wheel. She smiled towards Su Luo. Okay, then the two of you should reminisce properly. Finished speaking, Ziyan slipped away with flying speed. Such a huge courtyard. Only Nangong Luyan and Su Luo remained. Nangong Luyan sat on the braided chair, the bright and beautiful sunlight sprinkled down, enveloping his well-proportioned body in a layer of golden light. He gave off a noble and out-of-the-ordinary aura. Each pure white petal from the jasper flower flowed down gently in great numbers to land on his clothes. At this moment, he seemed even more graceful and honorable. His long arm extended, powerful and strong, as his arm drew Su Luo tightly into his embrace. He nestled into the bend in her shoulder, and smelled the faint fragrance that came from her body. Only then did his body slowly relax. 9 days ago, he went out the door to look for her. Seeing she was just inside the other courtyard, but no matter what he couldn't go in. Because Grandmaster Rong Yun set a restriction that separated it from this world. Based on his cultivation, he simply couldn't remove it. A whole 9 days, sunrise to sunset that alternated. He would motionlessly stand at the foot of the wall, standing there like a statue. This feeling of knowing she was inside. But he couldn't see her no matter what made Nangong Luyan taste defeat for the first time in his life. He knew that there were a lot of strong experts in this world, and that he still hadn't achieved the strength to do as he pleases. At the foot of the wall for 9 days, Nangong Luyan made a solemn vow. For this lifetime he must stand at the summit of the strongest experts. This matter of being cut off and unable to see each other, he wouldn't allow it to reoccur. Now hugging her, smelling that familiar scent from her hair, Nangong Liuyun's heart gradually evened out. What's wrong? Su Luo's sharp perception sensed the difference in him, asking in a muffled voice. Luo Luo. Nangong Liyun cupped her face that was the most beautiful in the world. His fingers delicately caressed her. His ink-like starry eyes had a gentleness that others had never seen before. Yes. Su Luo's tight lips opened slightly. We must not be separated again, okay? The always calm and composed Nangong Liyun, whose expression wouldn't change even if Mount Tai collapsed in front of him. When he said this sentence, there was a trace of trembling in his tone. 9 days, a whole 9 days he couldn't see her. It made him feel like a trapped beast close to the edge. That time, he thought of it again and again. If he didn't have Luo Luo in his life, then what would he do? As long as he thought of this question, the place closest to his heart on his chest would ache dully, a pin-cushion like burning pain. It was close to suffocating him. Just thinking of it would feel this painful to him. If it was to really happen, then what would he do? Therefore Nangong Liyun, who had no sense of security, drew Su Luo to him with his arms and tightly pressed her into his chest. That you're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.